Shadow of the Erdtree DLC is on the horizon, and I want to say I'm excited about it, but should I be? There are 308 weapons according to Fextra Life in Elden Ring, and I've barely used a third of that. Maybe. How can I say I want more Elden Ring when I still have veggies on my plate? That's why today I'm gathering all 308 weapons in the lands between and beating one of the 165 bosses with each of them. No NG+, no hacking, no having a friend drop the item in for me. We're farming everything ourselves, even the items with questionable drop rates. After that, I'll be able to really feel how excited I am for June 21st. Honestly, this might take 4 goddamn months anyway. To watch me do these runs live, come hang out on Twitch. It's easier to do them when I have people to chat with. Join the Patreon to support these bad ideas. It's the best place to give us money, and you get exclusive videos as well. But if you can't give me money, that's cool. Just like, subscribe, and maybe watch another video after this one. YouTube likes it when you spend a lot of time with the creator. And I don't know if you saw the video length, but this is gonna be a long, long road. We're kicking things off as a wretch because I'm a fool. I thought it would be the best way to have flexible stats later. Bandit starts with a weapon we're gonna have to farm later, and more arcane for better item drop rates. That's okay, we have plenty of time to make mistakes. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single misstep. We're gonna be slamming more basic enemies this run just on the off chance we get lucky to get the early drop, but that's also a mistake, something we're gonna realize later. Stone Sword Key from the shack is very important. Lots of weapons are locked behind the fog, particularly ones you don't have to kill bosses for. Because I didn't sit down and actually line up which bosses are getting which methods of destruction, we're going to try and grab as many weapons as possible before fighting a boss. As it turns out, there's 170 weapons you can grab without fighting a single boss. That does also mean 170 potential secret starting classes.
I like the sound of that.
If you remember the proper order run from a few months ago, running around the world with low vigor is immensely frustrating as an experience. That's why we're just running right to the Dragon Barrow. Grail doesn't count as a boss, and we can just pound off on our toes for a healthy amount of health to start things off. You get the Spiked Cestus and the Beast Torch. That's weapons 1 and 2. Oh, I guess we have the club, so weapon 3. Melina takes us to the Round Table Hold, where I'll jump off right away for the Cypher Pata and get killed by Marluxia. Only had 19 runes to lose, no huge loss, especially in the grand scheme of things. Pickle behind Limgrave, grabbing the pickle by the graves. Who am I? Mary Shelley? Google that on your work computer. It's a little sexy, but Mary Shelley is honestly just a fascinating woman. It's a hell of a rabbit hole to dive down. Maybe read up on that while I pound off on these dragon toes. Those early runes will get us 30 vigor, not as much as I'd want, but I also want a little more strength and dexterity. They're kind of basics for most weapons, and that'll give us a firm base level before beginning the real run of today. But what if you wanted to get a firm understanding of back-end coding? Well, then you should check out today's sponsor, boot.dev. It's the year 2024, the furthest into the future we've ever been. And when I think of futuristic jobs, I think computers. The median salary for a programmer in 2022 was $100,000, and most companies will let you do that from anywhere. To the untrained eye, Python looks like a waterfall of random letters and numbers. But to be fair, you could say the same thing about Elden Ring. Heck, most RPGs seem really complicated and scary to the untrained, but once you figure out how the RPG works, it's really fun and you want to do it all the time. That's the genius of boot.dev. With boot.dev, your education is formatted like an RPG, with experience points, levels, and even a PvP leaderboard for you PvP sickos out there. I know there are a few of you in this audience. There's even Boots, a friendly AI NPC bear to help answer your questions. Or you can dive into the active Discord community if you would rather have advice from some real fellow gamers. This isn't an abstract thing either. You're going to be writing code. Lots of code. If you're a hands-on learner like me, there's no better way to learn back-end programming and learn a new skill to get a great job. This is not some sort of scheme to get rich quick. This is learning a valuable skill in a fun and effective way. Click the link in the description and enter offer code TULOK at checkout for 25% off either 1 month or 1 year. Obviously, you're saving more money if you go for the whole year, and there are free trials so you can figure out if boot.dev is right for you before you purchase. Now, you go get learning some code, and I'm gonna get back to this video. Maybe have me up on another monitor. That would be a great thing to do while you were practicing your coding, by the way. Let's get the Dectus piece and Radigan's Sword Seal. +5 to strength and dexterity will help us hit requirements, and endurance will help keep us out of heavy load. I don't want a heavy load, in Elden Ring at least. Death Touch Catacombs has the Uchi Katana, and oh god, I just made a samurai. Whoops. Nerd Juice next, he'll drop the Reduvia, but we're not doing this to open the door to patches. I mean, we kind of are, but no, Yura is actually gonna be helpful this run, because we're gonna kill him. What do I call this Magic the Gathering act? The Aristocrats. He drops the Nagakiba, one of several weapons with the same syllable emphasis as Mamma Mia by ABBA. Try it at home. Nagakiba. Here I go again. Buy the hand axe in the woods, but don't go to fort height? How could I do this to myself? We're going to Caelid instead. All this running around might seem like a waste of time, but when we grab the Graces, it's investing in the future. Time to storm Redmane Castle before the party to grab Flaming Strike as a Nash of War. Remember how good Flame of the Redmanes used to be? Well, this is kind of like that, debatably better. Might as well grab the Flamburger while we're here, and farming enemies pays off. We get the Knight's Greatsword from a random Redmane. And then don't find the Flamburger, because I got lost. Okay game, we'll get those flame-broiled patties later. Have it your way. Time for our first boss in the abandoned cave. We can pick up the Serpent Bow and Venomous Fangs on the way to fight the Cleanrot Knights with the Uchi and the Nagakiba. This is how we'll handle doing 165 bosses with 308 weapons, by the way. If we can power stance, we should be fine, even though some weapons don't power stance. Oh, but then we get rotted and die. Bail out, go get some dogs from Ronnie, and pick up the butterflies on the way down. We'll need those to craft rot arrows later. The wolves provide a little distraction so we can avoid getting rotted and make the Cleanrots much more manageable. First boss done, and first 2 weapons done as well. Time to goof again. We head to the Farum Great Bridge, or as I call it, the Farm Great Bridge, and start farming Vulgar Militia. Here's the theory. They'll give us a lot of runes, so even if it takes a while to get them to drop the Saw and Sickle, we'll just be set up with a lot of levels for later in the run. Only problem, after we get the dragon levels from Grail, these runes aren't really that helpful anyway. We could be getting weapons a lot faster if we just went to go grab the ones that are in the overworld, specifically ones that don't have to be farmed. And we end up getting killed. That's helpful. Let's take a detour to imagine getting a lot of weapons in Fort Height. We're fighting all of the Fort Knights, including the Pumpkin Knight, since this is one of the ones that can drop the big meaty flail, Sanctuary Stone. What a bummer. While we're here, might as well grab some Blood Roses and beat the real Fort Knight for Bloody Slash. We'll want to crank Arcane for farming drops later. Some bleed wouldn't be bad. And of course, get the other piece of the Dectus Medallion so we can get to Altus when we need to later. 4 quick weapon pickups in the Round Table Hold: Dagger, Longsword, Rapier, and Scimitar. There are more we're gonna buy later, we just don't have the runes. Whoops. Then back to the farm I shouldn't be doing. At least I started getting more efficient with it, realizing I can skip the militia with the chain weapons since they don't drop any weapons. But like, dude, get out of Dragon Barrow. I wish Stream Phil could hear me. After wasting half an hour, we go in to fight Patches.
Don't kill him.
It would be so easy to drop him and get the spear, but we can get the spear other places. If he's dead, we can't get the magma whip from Volcano Manor later, so you live today. I guess I'll just pay full price for these pickles. How have I not gotten a sponsor from Golden Pickles? Well, just remember you get 25% off boot.dev. Thanks again for the deal from them. Parrying dagger acquired, I guess. Time for another goof. Imagine meeting Mr. Height in Limgrave and getting an Erdsteel dagger, but also shutting off the easiest pumpkin flail farm, because when Mr. Height moves back to Fort Height, he slams the banhammer down on the pumpkins. We're gonna see that later. To Caelid, we're gonna go down the list of weapon categories starting with dagger, so we want the Wakizashi, but if there's stuff on the way, we'll grab it. Tons of little bugs could drop the Pestglaive. They don't, but we try to fight them anyway. And they're little dogs too. Meteoric Oreblade is in a cave with way too many spider babies. I gotta back out, bait them into the hallway, and slash them one at a time. I don't know who thought they needed to put 16 little spider snipers into one small room, but you're sick. It's actually a test of stealth. You're supposed to hide behind the caskets. But this is, to my knowledge, the only place in the game you're really rewarded for using stealth, so I forgot to use it. Meteoric Oreblade. 10 minutes later, we go where we're actually supposed to go to, the Gale Cave. Not to be confused with the Gayel Cave, which is just Spanish for gay, the cave. Totally different. Hey, torch sickos, here's your torch. We use it as we move through the Gale. If you want to say it's pronounced jail and not Gale, that's fine. Send me a gif of your anger. There's the Wakizashi. But this is a one-way cave, meaning if we want to get out, we have to die or fight a boss, so parrying dagger and dagger. Can you parry the frenzied duelist? I don't know. It didn't work for me, but the parrying dagger is the worst parry in the game. I think it has 2 active frames. Mid-fight, I try to get the Reduvia to save us, but no, another L. Then I just mashed X and went to the Stake America, so we'll do it again and die again. Tulurnia, baby. The merchant there sells some stuff, S-stock, and astrologer's staff added to the kit. Just realized we could get even more watch time if I read the description of every weapon, but I think that would kinda ruin the video. I mean, if it adds 20 seconds per weapon, that's an extra hour and a half of just me doing the reading voice. For weapon 20, let's grab Boggart's balls.
And squeeze.
We won't talk about every farming attempt, only the successful ones or the funny ones. This one's pretty funny. The little fire priest sets a pick for the big flame monk that stops us from rolling away. Wild. No mace, but we do get the fire monk armor, and that's a pretty cool look. Killing the old Alberneric will give us the Haligtree piece, but we're really here for the ivory sickle. Having the Haligtree piece will get Ensha to invade us though, and chopping him up gives us the clinging bone. Heck of a combo. We'll get the Academy key next and spare Smaragd for now. It's a pretty easy dragon. We're gonna save it for some garbage weapons later. At the time of writing this, I actually don't know which weapon I'm calling garbage, but I'm sorry if your favorite caught astray here. Near Bellum Church, the merchant sells us the composting bow. Oh god, I forgot there are bows in this run. Spell enjoyers, I have dunked on you a lot, but I haven't dunked on bow enjoyers because, you know, who the hell would use a bow in this game? In the Raya Lucaria tunnel, we get the digger staff drop, that's lucky, and a bunch of smithing stones we can use later. Also the crystal knife, maybe one of the worst weapons in the game. Only gonna use that on an absolute joke of a boss. Knock knock, who's there? The Crystallion with the crystal knife and the dagger, because these are both pretty ass. We break the Crystallion stance, get a crit with the boosted crit damage from one of the knives, and flurry away. I really do like the power stance dagger moveset. It's just insanely fast. 2 bosses down, 163 to go. At least we can buy smithing stones every time we don't want to use a +0 weapon. Oh no.
How long do we sink to the bottom of the sea? How long?
Time to fall down a cliff into Dragon Barrel for the Syncadilla, but gravity has some funny rules here, so we died twice. Eventually it just works. Now we have the Syncadilla. By the bridge in Limgrave, we can buy the short sword, but we don't have enough money for the halberd because we died twice and lost all our runes. Very fun. This is where we realize the pumpkin head is gone. I thought we could go get a few runs at it for the runes, but nope. Instead, run around the Dragon Barrel farming little militia members again. Hey, at least we get the saw. And now we can buy the halberd. Limgrave, more shopping while we have the runes. And before I forget, broadsword and short bow. What if it was broad and short?
We got a certified chode on our hands. Little tuna can.
On the way to the Carrion Knight Sword in Lernia, I realize we have another pumpkin head with the flail, so we end up fighting the whole camp, but it actually ends up dropping a smithing stone. Drops a smithing stone. We need hundreds of them, so fine. Carrion Knight Sword, and then I forgot a weapon in the village of the Albernerics. Whoops. Looks like it's actually not over here by the Omen Killer. You gotta go across the other bridge for the Tita Sword. Seriously, does the Crystal Sword not look identical to Brotherhood from Final Fantasy X? All the way over to the Oriza Hero's Grave. A bear tried to join me on the elevator, but you're gonna have to catch the next one. No bear on an elevator today, Barrowsmith. Golden Epitaph is right behind the fog wall, very free. Except the bear is still here, oh no! Back to Caelid now, keep trading stone swords for straight swords. Now, is Mikola Saint Trina? Well, sort of. We should have to use a stone sword to get the regalia of the Ayo Chad, but the Ayo I'm a Chad way to get it done is to just Skyrim up the wall. If you thought we were going to be done being straight for swords, you haven't seen us in Caria Manor. Can you mix Knight and Flame in a single weapon? Sort of. There's actually an even greater sword in here, if you can believe it. Not like a lazuli sword that the Burger Kings have a chance to drop, because much like someone in their 30s at a nightclub, they don't want to drop it. No, I'm fighting the big troll for the Troll Knight sword. If I wanted to troll at night, I would simply post a video, sharing my opinions about spells. Some fast ones in Limgrave. The Great Axe is actually kinda mid. It should be called the Fine Axe. The Great Epi, yeah, that deserves great. I like it quite a bit, even if it's blocked by some super annoying dudes. Okay, Twin Blade. Ooh, a Royal House Scroll technically isn't a weapon, but if you think I'm not going to use Carrion Slicer when we have to use that staff later, you hardly know me. 2 weapons in the big category, or another way to put that, the large club. In the Weeping Peninsula, the Morning Star, it's got bleed, it's a hammer. Then buy the light crossbow and the bastard sword from the merchant. Also, holy snap, this dude sells the scale set? That's pretty cool armor if you don't want to farm. I don't think I see a lot of people wearing it. Underrated. Check it out. Tons of fun in Castle Morn. With a name like that, how couldn't it be fun? Just because the Misbegotten won't let you open a chest? Maybe. Claymore, my beloved, the main weapon we're going to be using for the next giant long video. It's so long that I started working on it before this one and then did this one because I thought it would be shorter. Let that sink in. All of these Misbegotten can drop weapons we'll need to farm later, but spoilers, none of them do because Castle Morn is here to make you cry. Although killing Edgar for Banished Knight Halberd +8 makes me cry tears of joy. And we even got a grape for later. Having a free weapon that's upgraded, especially one as cracked as a Banished Knight's Halberd, that's a real treat for this run. Our last weapon in the castle for now is the whip. Turns out there are more weapons in here, but I know that now. I didn't know it then, and that's what graces are for. Gatefront has some easy checks, the Lordsworn's Greatsword and the Flail. The soldiers can also drop weapons we need, but they don't, so screw them. A merchant in the Weeping Peninsula has our next weapon, so we'll grab all the sacred tears on the way. Might as well upgrade the flask. Believe it or not, running around the entire world and combing it with the finest of teeth of combs gets you a lot of upgrade materials. The Demi-Human drops the Demi-Human Queen Staff, one of the worst staves in the game, but it also has the lowest intelligence requirement. It's literally the stupidest staff to use. Faith Not Tear will boost our faith by 10, but I'd rather have the Blithe Not Tear me. Oh, it's pronounced tear? Oh. Also on the way, Winged Scythe from some graves or whatever. All of this was on the way to the Zweihander from the merchant. For those who don't speak German, that translates to big ass sword. Sure, that's a great sword, but what about the great sword in Caelid? They're actually both colossal swords, but words don't mean anything. All of them are made up. Back to Altus for Eleanor's pole blade. It's not technically next on the list, but it's on the way, so why not? Just because we're really low leveled and she can kill us? That's a great reason, actually. We've had the Troll Knight sword, but what about the Troll's golden sword? We're like a sixth of the way through the game and I'm starting to realize I think there are too many weapons. I've been replaying Bloodborne lately, literally half as many weapons as we've collected thus far, but each one is super unique, or at least most of them are, and the ones that aren't only have one other weapon that's similar. Anyway, speaking of Bloodborne, Lady Maria too dies and drops the Eleonora pole blade. Just get a little janked by the columns occasionally, it's fine. Am I gonna remember to use the Eleonora tier against Moog like 50 hours from now? Probably not. I still haven't remembered to put anything in our physic flask and we are 4 hours into this run. Super Smash Bros. Melee gets hit with the halberd and we get the Antspur rapier, which should help us if we need status effects later. Right outside the High Road Cave, I'm counting up the weapons and it turns out I'm not great at menu movement. But that is actually a huge brain move. You see, this is a one-way cave. We would have to fight the golem at the bottom, which I don't want to do because it's fucking easy and I want to use shitty weapons for it. But if you Memory of Grace, while you have runes that are out in the overworld, they stay out in the overworld. So when we go down to grab the Shamshir and warp out, that is a free way to save the runes.
Incredible thoughts, incredible mind.
We get horny underground with the Hornbow and a merchant. He sells a Shotel, but also has some stone swords we can't afford right now. God, his shop is so inconvenient to get to. I really don't want to run back down here. I mean, we could get his bell bearing, but we'd have to, Hope he enjoys that cruise. Maybe he'll even get Fort laid. Pro tip, don't use the fire infusion against fire smo. He has really good fire resistance. He does drop the Prelate's Infernal Crozier. I really wish this was the worst thing I had to do on Gelmir, but we have to go into Gelmir Hero's Grave. We're kind of doing things in weapon order, but you know, kind of not. We're on curved swords is what I'm saying. So the Mantis Blade is next, and this one is stupid. Pass the Chariot, pass the pages. Sorry, fight the pages because they don't leave you alone. Have super bullets and iron poise. Then pass the Fire Turret, another 2 pages when you realize you took a wrong turn. Seriously, page duo harder than Godskin duo, what the hell? Then realize Ringed Finger is actually the other way, through the lava. Thank God we have the swagger. Also, I guess the Chariot just doesn't come at you in the lava, so probably don't hang out down here if you want that Ringed Finger yourself. Who's gonna get fingered? I don't know. Currently, we have to run back through the lava with no more flasks. I think we might just die here and have to run through everything a second time. Well, surely we won't need health to fight the Cemetery Shade. Like I said, it's not like the cemetery shit's gonna kill us. Next attempt goes slightly better. We do make it to the porta potty sized room you fight the Endless Poise Ghost in, but only after getting hit by the chariot. Oh, also, Endless Poise Ghost has bleed, so we die again. Seriously, what are you supposed to do here? Oh, just give it the Pet Cemetery special, and we get the Mantis Blade. Let's be real, I don't want to come back down here again, so even though I'm trying to save bosses for later, let's just end this shit show. It's Red Wolf, and we'll use the Halberd and better Halberd. That's already a +8. People said dual Halberd moveset is good. I think they just mean the jumping attacks. We didn't have enough health because of all the, lava chariots and all that bullshit we had to do to get down here, so we can't trade like I normally kind of have to against Red Wolves. They're fast. Attempt 2 goes a little better. We win and used the Halberd and Banished Knight Halberd to kill a boss, our third boss, at 4 hours and 45 minutes in. The Ruined Screwed Oedipus is my favorite mother trucking level in the game and has some very useful stuff for us. Obviously a weapon, pretty much the only reason we're going anywhere, but there are also a lot of smithing stones we can use, and remember, we need hundreds of these things. Eventually, that will add up to be very expensive. Saving money is kind of important. Pickaxe drop, so hey, there are 2 weapons in here, kinda. I think it counts as a great hammer or a great axe, we'll figure it out eventually. Serpent God's Curved Sword is the main weapon we're coming for, and it has passive healing whenever you kill an enemy. As the game goes on, we're gonna have to run through tons of little caves and catacombs, killing gargoyles along the way, to hopefully get them to drop their stuff. So having this on your offhand and getting healed a little bit lets you take some chip from those gargoyles. Before going to Volcano Manor, I figured we should get the Devourer Scepter by killing Bernie. Surely we won't regret that when we have to fight the Godskin duo later. Raya lets us into Volcano Manor even though we killed her uncle. I think she just doesn't know. Awkward. There's a Propageza up the stairs who drops a really cool weapon, the Giza Wheel. But we're here on the quest for the Serpent Bone Blade. All we have to do is kill Istvan in Limgrave. He also drops the Scaled set. Pretty nice set of armor. Then Tanith will give us Magma Shot. That's not Serpent Bone Blade. Is that the second reward? Okay, on the way to that, Old Altus Tunnel has a weapon we can grab before we fight the boss. It's the Troll's Hammer, and then we get boxed in by 3 Tower Shield Royal Knights for another death. Riley might appear to be idle, but he's got a lot of rot, both on his dagger and his crossbow bolts. The bolts that do 1,000 times more damage than any crossbow bolts we could use. Now, Tanith gives us the Serpent Bone Blade, and if anyone knows about serpent's boning, it's her. Atop the Highway Lookout Tower in Altus, we can grab the Great Bow, but that's a misnomer. There aren't bows that are good, let alone great. Also, I fell off the tower, which means that those catapults I took out before running up here are back. Lovely. The next weapon is in the East Windmill Pasture. Naturally, that means it's in the northernmost section of the windmill area on the map.
Naturally.
Twinned Knight's Sword, that's weapon 69, baby. Maybe, I'll be honest. I'm rewatching the stream while writing this, and Stream Phil says that we're over 70. I don't know which of us is correct. By the Battle Axe, Mace, Short Spear, Longbow, and Sacred Seal in the Round Table Hold. I don't know if my count is off now or if it's off then. This might not be perfect, but don't worry, gamers. There's an easy solution to that. Who gives a shit? The Ice Rind Hatchet is in Lernia. These Albernaires can drop their curved clubs, and we can't warp out until they die anyway, so we might as well try for it. They drop nothing. The Sauron Tower doesn't give us anything we need, but it does shut off Sauron if we do it. And we get a Madness proc from the rat while climbing the ladder, but don't fall off. Madness doesn't make you fall off of ladders? What is going on? I swear, anytime I sit down to do one of these super long runs, the game behaves in wild ways. Vike's War Spear is apparently really good against NPCs, but I'm a PC. And while Frenzied Flame is great at stun-locking a Tarnished build, Halberd R1 goes hard. We're actually heading this way for the Rosus Axe in the Black Knife Catacombs. Hey, Andre, can you give us a review?
Roses really smell like boo-boo-boo.
Thanks, Andre. Check in with you again later. Volcano Manor has a few weapons we can grab. I always forget how much poise the Bloodhound Knights have. Call that a bad touch. But good news, 6 hours into the run, we finally put something into the Physic Flask. Good for me. Bloodhound Claws when we win, and the Erd Tree Seal in the town below. We have to kill an Omen Killer or get killed by an Omen Killer, either or. Wait, no, definitely have to kill it, or at least make sure it dies. Hey, I hate fighting a Capra Demon, so what if we just call the Virgin to do it for us? Up the stairs to the left, we can bring down the Voldo on a Segway looking bastard. He'll just run the dude over. Omen Cleaver acquired, then the Bin Eric Staff. Okay, Mr. Ben Eric, I'll call you Al. In a similar area, Mount Gelmir, just slide down the ladder and fight Anastia for the sacred butchering knife, then get Golden Vow. Can I just use that with every casting seal and say that's how we use the casting seal? Feels like cheating. Time for the Valiant Gargoyle, but this one isn't a boss. Weirdly, we're kind of making extra bosses this run. I've never fought the one in the capital outskirts, and it turns out, still bad. You have to fight it on an incline, and if this is anything like doing cardio, that's going to make it a lot harder. Figure out we'll need 3 crits, but the second opportunity, his head is too high. We can't reach it. Weak. I actually get the win on the first try, though, for the Gargoyle Axe. Congrats to me. The Great Mace is much less eventful. Just grab a chest by the Dectus Lift, slap some Frostbite on there, and you've basically got Vort of the L'Oreal Valley. I know it's Boreal Valley, but look at my hair. Come on. How do we not have a shampoo sponsor yet? The Celebrant weapons are going to be a nightmare to farm, but the skull is actually just on a cliff in the Windmill Village. Easy enough. We'll be back later for the 0.5% drop chances on these weapons. Jesus. Great Stars are in a caravan being guarded by a bunch of dudes. Some of them have weapons I might want. I know the Pumpkinhead has the flail I want. It drops a Sanctuary Stone. But someone else drops the Lord Sword and Straight Sword. And then we get the Great Stars. 2 weapons. You don't have to fight the ulcerated tree spirit by the Giant Crusher, but our halberd has fire on it. So how bad can it be? Pretty bad. It just drops a golden seed, but then the Giant Crusher is acquired. Oh hey, Golden Order seal is right next door. My Golden Order is 20 nuggets and some fries. I'm a hungry lad. Roads End Catacombs and Lernia, none of these Gargs want to drop their stuff, but 2 floors down we can grab the Watchdog Staff. It doesn't actually scale with intelligence despite doing magic damage. Weird. It's one of the weapons I'm most curious about this run, though I'll be honest, we're not really getting to test them beyond doing one boss fight with them. Gael Cave is so much different than Gael Cave. This one has a bunch of stone diggers in it and some octopuses that don't take too much damage until, ooh, that's a big crit. Anyway, there's the David Cross Naginata for my Mr. Show fans. Not fighting the Magma Worm for the Moonveil just yet, since I want to walk out of the cave and warp out. We'll figure out what we want to use against this Magma Worm later. Time for the Celia Hideaway. Smart move by the devs to hide it away. It's terrible. One of the worst areas in the game. At least we get the Crystal Spear, a spear that requires Somber Stones and can't be buffed. Yeah, I really should have left that one hidden away. What member of NSYNC should cameo in SpongeBob? How about Lance Bass? It's in Limgrave. Just jump on some ruins on the way to the Taints Bridge. Lou's Cream is in Lernia, where all these dudes are fighting near the Busted Bridge. It's also close to the Tree Spear if you just keep heading down the road. Yeah, Streamville is saying we're at weapon 99, even though Writingville thinks we're at weapon 95. I don't know who's correct. At the end, we'll just fix it. The important thing to remember is that these videos don't matter and will make no material improvement to the world beyond entertaining you for a little bit. To round off the stream with what Streamphil thought would be weapon 100, we go to the Cliff Bottom Catacombs and grab the Scythe. Fitting that it's a symbol of death, because I kinda wish I was dead. We're not actually going to do a chapter break here since we're kind of close to a major milestone in the run. Exciting, right? Back to Caria Manor for the Urumi. It's a whip that has piercing damage sometimes, and that makes people think it's good. It's not. Piercing damage is good, but if it's as slow as a whip is, yeah, that's not great. More whips on Lernia of the Lakes. I was a little worried that Hosla would not be here, but you know he is. This isn't Juno. This is Dialos, the worse and weaker one. Free Pedal Whip. You know what franchise I miss? Guitar Hero. Can't get the controllers anywhere, but in Elden Ring you can get the guitar in Fort Gale. The Strength Talisman is also here, which might help later, maybe, if I don't just invest in a lot of strength anyway. Guitar is just down on this little embankment, and there we go. Oh hey, Lion Guardian gives the Lion's Claw Ash of War. It's really good, might want it for later. Sage's Cave time, because we're on to Claws now. Unfortunately not fighting any of these bosses here, except the super poised skeleton that's not a boss. Oh, bummer. Raptor Talons acquired, but by my count, that's weapon 100. My count is more important than Streamphil's count, because I'm doing it now. Also, after recording the first bit, Corey informed me that I missed some weapons, so he'll put those in there. Thanks, Corey. Raptor's Feathers will boost the jump damage. We'll definitely want that when we start power stancing colossal weapons. Jump attacks are basically the only viable way to use power stanced colossals. I got a little lost in the Shaded Castle looking for the painting to get the harp bow, but hey, if we get the Veteran's Prosthesis, we can use that to get the Millicent's Prosthesis later. +5 Dex will be good for hitting weapon requirements, and the combo boost will be even better with power stanced curved swords and daggers. This is the wrong side of the castle though. It took a lot of wandering around until I went to the east end of the castle to find the painting. That's not even all you have have to do to get the harp bow. Now I get lost again while trying to find the proper vista. The Windmill Village is the vista for one painting, but it's the one for the spell that sets you on fire. You have to go over by the Sainted Hero's grave for the harp bow vista. Not worth it, by the way. Honestly, the game could give me a Lord's rune with the harp bow right when you come out to first step, and I might just leave it on the ground. The harp bow sucks. Pulley bow in Gmir, just go up a tower. Now it's time for some real cringe game design in the Cringe Folk Hero's grave. First, you have to avoid the chariot, then fall into a bottomless pit that wasn't actually bottomless. Run around a flamethrower that will reset up as a flamethrower every time you come through here. Fall into another bottomless pit that would kill you, but the game says it doesn't have gravity damage this time. Then do it again immediately into a floor where you can't even see the floor. Doesn't kill you, doesn't deal any damage, sure. Up an elevator, fight a banished knight, and then you get to time the drop of the pots onto the chariot that you can't see. You have 3 chances to get lucky, and then you have to reset at the grace.
Again.
Oh, and then whiff, because Fextra Life said to count 1 Mississippi after you hear the chariot hit the wall. No, that's way too late. Shoot it before it hits the wall. That's how it actually works. Thanks, Fextra Life. Erd Tree Great Bow. All that edging, at least we get the cum. Onion seal. Back in the round table hold for the Crepus Black Key Crossbow. Literally just use stone sword keys in the basement. It's not free. It's like 2,000 runes worth of keys. Pulley crossbow at the Craftsman Shack that I didn't know was a grace on Gmir. Learning new things every day. Say hi to Irina while holding her dead dad's weapon. That will set up the Frenzy Seal for later, and she's on the way to the Hand Ballista anyway. Oh my god, wait, Hand Ballista? Is this a gun that shoots finger creepers as bullets? Oh, no, it just shoots great bolts. New idea for the DLC though, seriously. Head through Lernia again, kill a random Lindell Knight here for the Lightning Prayer Book. We'll be using seals to boost specific spells for our reason to use them over another seal. That Golden Vow thing earlier was a joke. That means when we get the Carrion Glintstone Staff in the Carrion Study Hall, we'll be using Carrion Sword sorceries on that. They named it wrong. The Carrion Glint Blade Staff at the top of this tower gives a boost to the Glint Blade sorceries, not the Glint Sword sorceries. Oh, and I pushed this dude off the tower. Long live the Burger King. Time for Horsery in the Town of Sorcery. I'm not good at it, but we'll still get the Staff of Loss and open the door to the Azure Staff boss fight for later, then get Night Comet. That's the only spell we're going to be using with the Staff of Loss. Crystal Staff is going to cost us 2 Stone Sword keys, which is so messed up. Even worse, there's only 1 Burger King in here with a potential weapon drop, and it doesn't drop. Just go through the illusory wall and get one of the worst staves that boosts some of the worst spells. Yay! Right back to Kaled. I'm starting to realize we probably would do better if we did zone defense, but hey, whatever. Meteorite Staff. Then go back to Kale for the torch, and back to Morn Castle for the Steel Wire torch. I don't really know the distinction betwixt these two. It's like a left Twix and right Twix thing. Next torch is in Altus. It's the Sentry's torch. Just buy it from the merchant. And just like that, we have scooped up all non-farmed weapons from the overworld that we can get before fighting a boss. Lots of arbitrary category restrictions there, but it is a milestone. Now, since I want to get the Silver Scarab before we farm, that means we finally get to fight some bosses. Time for a little vacation from weapon collecting. Marget is first, even though it should actually be Radon, but we'll get him next. If someone really wants to optimize this run and make it a category for speedruns, best of luck to you. Hope you like wearing diapers and catheters. We're using the Parrying Dagger and the Erdsteel Dagger. Added some heat to the Erdsteel Dagger with a Flaming Strike. Remember kids, Parrying Dagger has 4 active frames, 6 on startup, and 15 lag frames. So every miss is totally understandable, and every parry is sick as hell. Phase 2, Marget gets a bunch of moves that can't be parried anyway, because you're not supposed to use it in this game. If it was, you could parry Godric, Renala, Elden Beast, Fortisax, Lanciax, and Lickmasax. Sadly, most of our damage ends up coming from the Earthsteel Dagger and Flaming Strike. The whole fight could have gone better if we just did that and didn't focus on trying to get parries. For Radon, we will not be respectful in the slightest. We have some Rot Crossbow bolts from killing Riley the Idol, and can buy poison arrows in Kaled, then we're just gonna hit him with status effects. See, if you can't power stance ranged weapons, you can equip different ammunition types to justify using different ranged weapons in the fight. Both are contributing. We don't ride back backwards to skip the arrow phase. No, actually, this fight is just arrow phase. Harp bow applies the poison, slowly, and then pulley crossbow just kind of rat-a-tat-a-tat-as out the rot. Damn, is the pulley crossbow actually kind of good? Specifically just for status effects, and you have to go craft all the bolts between every fight. Never mind, I still don't like it. Seems like a lot of hoopla just to get some rot when you could simply kill Malay Cyrus by the Shaded Castle. Those status effects kill Radon. We also summon people to fight him, but you know, we can literally just wait it out and win. I remember to cash in Radon's Remembrance. Good for me. This is one of the few that we have to duplicate. It's really not that much of a problem. A lot of people were concerned about this, but only 3 Remembrance bosses have 2 weapons, Radon, Godric, and Elden Beast. We'll cash these both in right away to get the Lion Greatbow and the Star Scourge Greatswords, the former of which is a chore that we'll have to find a place to use, and the latter of which is a tool we're going to use to do chores. Just go unlock that now, actually. Vari gives us the finger, and then we can use that on the Beast Man in Altus. Not the Beast Clergyman, totally different guy. Just poke him with the halberd. NPC fights are fun. He drops the Great Stars, which we already have, not a new weapon, RIP me. We already have a Grace next to a Maiden, so getting the sheet all bloody-fied is easy, and now we give Vari a finger and we can warp to Mogwin Palace. This is when some people in chat revealed that they're horny for Vari, and hey...
Stop it. Get some help.
Lord's Rune will help us crank our strength high enough to use the Star Scourge Greatswords, and all this running around gave us enough Somber Stones to push it to +6 already. Just gotta get the intelligence tier from Lernia, and we're ready to kill some frogs. I have refused to kill frogs in other runs because it's boring. You hit the L2 button until you hit more billion levels or whatever, and all the Albernerics die. It sucks. But we have to level the weapons up to do this run as I want to do it. The challenge of the run I'm going for is not beat Melania with +0 weapons. The challenge is really just of my patience to collect everything. What I hope to learn from this run, what power stancing movesets are good, what weapon have I overlooked in the past, and why is Gostock dead again? So we'll farm frogs when we need to level a weapon, but we're not going to use it for levels. Bosses give us levels, frogs give us weapons. Hey, speaking of cool movesets, you know what's a cool moveset? Power stanced straight swords. Shreds up Nefeli. Sorry, sweetie, we need the Stormhawk axe. God, she even still hopes we become Elden Lord? This feels extra mean. Godric will let us show off the moveset even more. We're using the long sword and the short sword, by the way, because I thought it was funny that long and short sword are the same category. Square off gets us the stance pressure, and then we combo. Phase 2, rinse and repeat. That's how you wash Godric. And with his Great Rune, we get +5 to every stat, hugely helpful when it comes to hitting weapon requirements. To dupe Godric's Remembrance, I hit up Lernia Turtle. That way we can grab the Axe of Godric and the Grafted Dragon, which I call the Muppet, because it hits as hard as Kermit would, and Kermit doesn't hit. It's mean. Draconic Tree Sentinel gets power stanced hammers, the Club and the Morningstar specifically. Despite being able to bleed, he does not. Power stance status procs got nerfed super hard, so it's not unexpected, but it is disappointing. The moveset is also really clumsy for hammers. I don't love it. Any power stance moveset that has you make one attack with one weapon each is kind of bad. We get the Dragon Claw for winning that fight, which means we've now gotten 2 super disappointing weapons with a dragon in their name in a row. We'll talk about Dragon Claw later. Maybe. Or I'll just skip it because I hate it. In the Royal Capital, we get the Seabed Curse we're going to need for the Dung Eater Sword, then beat down the Erdtree Avatar for a free 50,000 runes. We've spent a lot of runes upgrading weapons, but we're only around level 70 ourselves. So 50,000 runes is still pretty impactful. Grab Rajir's Rapier since I remembered to, thank God. It's just because we're using Rapier and Estoc against the Godfrey Shade. He's weakest to Pierce, but I also hate this power stance moveset. What is the point of gripping 2 swords if you're only thrusting with 1 at a time? Cane Sword's right on the way. Now let's poke a ghost. It goes really bad. These should be fast weapons, right? They're small, but each hit makes us trade a little bit because if I want to get the benefits of power stancing, I have to make 2 attacks. Basically, if you like thrusting swords, just 2-hand 1. Otherwise, you're just wasting time. I was really excited to do that Nightcrawler shit, but RIP me again. And RIP the Godfrey Shade. I mean, they're bad, but they're still weapons. After all that jazz, I need a sax. The Bolt of Grand Sax, to be specific. Grab the key from the Dung Eater, level up some claws, and we're ready for Morgott. He's getting a Venomous Fang and Raptor Talon, which feels weird to power stance. Claws auto power stance when you 2-hand them. So like, not just 2-handing them feels weird and I have to hit different buttons. Bleed and Poison pop together, dude gets shredded down. Now we can trade that boss's hole for the Morgott's Curved Sword. I'm pretty sure there's only 1 weapon in the Forbidden Lands, drops from the Blackblade Kindred, we'll get it later. The Bellbearing Tree just made all of our weapons more expensive. I mean, not technically, we only have to level them up as high as I want. Plus 12 is good enough most of the time, it just sounds like a pain. Beyond that, Castle Soul has the Eclipse Hotel. Let's hear an appropriate amount of applause for the Eclipse Hotel. Crickets are huge fans of Deathblight. Nile gets the crystal and short spear treatment. Now this is a power stance moveset. Every attack uses both swords instead of awkwardly swinging one and then the other. Or in the rapier's case, swinging one and then the other 3 times and then the first one again and then doing them together. Who made that? Since both come out at the same time, we can just use an R1 and dodge. There's no pressure to keep hitting the attack button like there was with the thrusting swords. Crystal Spear is a little worse. It's got mandatory magic damage and you can't buff or infuse it, but it still pokes. Poking works. Time for a mistake. We fall down the hidden path of the Halig Tree and grab the Silver Scarab, but I thought we could warp out with the Moog Medallion, and no. If we want out, we have to drop a bunch of runes, or we could just kill the Stray Mimic. Fine. 2 unupgraded weapons, the Lord Sword, Straight Sword, and the Cane Sword. Like I said earlier, Straight Sword power stancing seems pretty cool, but these 2 are kind of bad anyway. Apparently. I'm literally just going off of rumors. About halfway through, we summon Flow just to make it go faster. These aren't upgraded. This isn't really a great review of the Cane Sword and the Lord Sword and Straight Sword, but yeah, I don't know, they're straight swords, you know? I'm sure they're fine. With all that out of the way, we can officially start farming more efficiently, which also means we get to go back to the farmyard.
Don't you know it, don't you know it's just the way we animals roll.
Okay, annotating every attempt of farming would make this video even longer than it even longer already is. So we'll talk locations, numbers of attempts, or how long the attempts take. There won't really be a format, because remember, these videos aren't saving your life. They're just fun things for you to watch. Starting with the Great Knife, because we're doing daggers first, working our way down, remember how we're doing that. The Lakeside Crystal Cave is kind of awesome for this type of run. The Gremlin in the bush has the Great Knife. There's also a spiked club and a blood-stained dagger on the way, which we end up getting first on our second run. Oh, and the falchion, so 4 total checks. On run 3, we get a spiked club. This is going really fast, and it should. We have 204 item discovery thanks to our frog mask. We did not skin our enemies and wear their faces, by the way. This is from Volcano Manor when we picked up the Alberneric staff. Another blood-stained dagger, which stinks. I think it's actually better than the Great Knife. And another spiked club. Shoot. We're getting tons of drops, just not of the things we need. There's also silver fireflies down here, which we can use to craft silver pickles later if we get really desperate and want 50 more item discovery. There's a big, long, complicated formula you can check for exact numbers, but if you want the simple, non-nerd version, just move the decimal over 2 points, and that's your multiplier over the drop percentage. Falchion drops on hunt number 10. All we need is the Great Knife now. There's a second small gremlin deeper in the cave, but eventually I figure it's faster to just hit the one at the bush and reset. Also, I don't think I've mentioned this yet in this video, which is probably bad because we're, almost 40 minutes in. Fextra doesn't count shields as weapons. So every rickety shield we get, I drop, so it doesn't mess up my count. The Great Knife ends up dropping on run 35, which is Clefairy for all of you Pokemon counters out there. I'll try to remember to do Pokemon counters, but sometimes we're just going to be hitting like multiple enemies. It's going to be hard to do. Not terrible. It should have been about a 1 in 25 chance, so still pretty bad. Overall, it took about 24 minutes to get 4 weapons. It's okay. Before I forget, let's get the Silver Pickle recipe book in Caelid, right where it connects to Limgrave, and then Hoarfrost stomp some birds. It's not a good Ash of War anymore, but it's still good for this. We need to start screaming in the Windmill Village. There are different weapons here. Different ladies drop different weapons. The Celebrant Sickle, Cleaver, and the Rib Ray. Each has a disgusting 0.5% drop chance. But with our item discovery, it's more like 1%. Great. First drop is the Rib Rake. We get the Cleaver next, which means we only need to roar the 2 in blue to get the Sickle. Overall, took about 20 minutes. Not bad. Stormvale has the best place to farm the Weathered Straight Sword with 10 nobles in a room all holding these terrible swords. They're the worst ones in the game. Also, Streamfill said we were at 141 weapons, so maybe our count is off. Again, not Corey's fault. Editing, that's Phil's fault here. Weathered Straight Sword acquired. Noble's Slender Sword next. Another 0.5 drop percent chance, but there's a lot of them all next to each other in Limgrave, and there's also a couple of Caden Riders which drop the Dismounters. Hey, speak of the devil, one of them dropped. Since we got the Dismounter, I thought maybe we should go try to farm the group in Lernia, but there's not nearly as many that are actually holding the Slender Sword. One of them drops the Glintstone Staff though, and that's nice. There's a third group in Caelid by some graves, but the graves just kind of act as hurdles we have to jump over. Eventually we go back to Limgrave and keep farming there. By the way, the reason we're not using the Sellen Grace is because we're saving Pumpkinhead for a bad weapon later, since it's an easy boss. There's a lot of stuff I might not just explain here, but there's probably a reason I did everything, and you can just trust me. I know this game pretty well anyway. Took around 11 minutes, but since we got 2 other weapons for our troubles, that's actually a really good time for a 0.5% drop. Farming in Raya Lucaria, I didn't know they had an agriculture program. Only the white-robed Burger King Knights can drop the sword, but the blue ones can drop the Academy Glintstone staff. I thought Thops was the only guy who gives you that, but if I don't have to go pick up his stupid key later, hell yeah. I think Carrier Manor will work better to farm the Burger Kings, because there's 3. The Troll joins sometimes, but Radahn's Roar clears them out really fast. Worth noting, we don't actually get a lot of extra runes from these farms. A lot of the time I'm just hitting Memory of Lost Grace. These are basic enemies. They're dropping like 500 runes each. It's not really worth it. The Zuli sword drops around number 25, and we're done with straight swords. Also, Pikachu for the Pokedex style counters. There you go. Time to farm the Banished Knight's Greatsword. If y'all want to know the difference between having good item discovery and damage for farming, that hour-and-a-half farm in the Banished Knight video turns into a 2-minute quest. Part of that is luck, but it was only number 6. A lot of that has to be the modifier. The fastest forked greatsword farm I could find, say that 5 times fast, is in the Road's End Catacombs. Run down, swat an imp, repeat. That takes a lot longer than the Banished Knight sword since there's only 1 imp to check and the drop rate is half as good. Bad combo. Hey, I just realized with Radahn dead, the castle is out of party mode. We can go get the Flamburger as long as I remember where it is. Yeah, always get super lost at Radahn's house, probably because this is like the 3rd time I've ever actually explored it. Wrong kind of pumpkinhead is blocking the sword. Oh well, still get the Flamburger. Another weapon. Did you know there are 2 noble weapons that have a 0.5% drop chance? Because I didn't at the time.
Oh shit, here we go again.
Sorry, Limgrave Nobles. I mean, no, I'm not. You're cursed for a reason. Takes about 3 minutes. Exploding 1,000,000 of them does help your odds. You're just rolling more dice. Clean Rot Farm. At least these are some cool weapons. There's a couple of them grouped up in the swamps of Caelid. The sword drops first. Makes sense. Every one of these Clean Rots can drop them, and it has a 1% higher chance than the scythe or the spear. Millicent invades, but sadly doesn't drop her magic curved sword that gets to have the waterfowl dance on it. Cheater. Look at that. We get a 2nd sword. Woohoo. And a 3rd. Hooray. The spear finally drops 15 minutes later. At some point, we must have gotten the scythe, but I'll be honest, I missed it. It's in there though. This is where things take a darker turn. We have to farm skeletons for 2 weapons in a row, and they take forever to spawn in and to die, since you have to hit them on the ground to make them actually die. Unless we use the Golden Epitaph. It doesn't make them spawn in any faster, but at least we don't have to kill them twice. They're not potatoes. Also, unless you're double frying potatoes, you don't need to cook them twice. You baked your potato twice in this economy? Maybe I just don't like sour cream. To make the farm faster, we killed the Cemetery Shade with the Golden Epitaph and the Weathered Straight Sword. First boss we've killed in this section, and it's just to warp out of here a little bit faster. Golden Epitaph buffs you, not your weapon, so the Weathered Straight Sword also got a buff against the Cemetery Shade. This is the Tombs Ward Catacombs, by the way, forgot to mention that. Think I did? I don't know. Who knows? Oh well. Gross Messer drops. Math nerds, according to Writing Phil, that's weapon 144, so it's very gross. According to Stream Phil, it's probably like 177 or something, but he is my enemy. One last farm for the stream. The Church of the Plague is probably the best place to farm the Bandit's Curved Sword. It's actually the best place to farm a lot of weapons, and if I was doing a zone defense, I would have realized that, but I wasn't. There's 2 skeletons that can drop it, and a 3rd that can drop the Grave Scythe we'll need later. If it doesn't drop here, there's a better place to farm it in Lernia that we used in the Gehrman video, but who knows, maybe we'll get lucky, or unlucky, and not get the Bandit Curved Sword for so long that we get a Grave Scythe first. Still using the Epitaph here. I don't really want to hit things on the ground, that sounds annoying, even if this thing technically has more swings. Grave Scythe drops about 7 minutes in, so I'm gonna say unlucky because it takes 14 minutes to get the Curved Sword. Yeah. That's not great. Also, Streamfield did a count at the end of this stream. I verified his count, and he was right. We're at 153. Corey just jumped the counter up and only at 13 hours in. Less than halfway through the weapons and less than 10% of the way through the bosses. Oh my god. Whoops, I left the Scavenger's Curved Sword on the ground here in Gmir. I guess if nobody wants this curved sword, I'll take it. Time to get some Omen weapons, the Cleaver and the Warped Axe, specifically from a couple of ogres in Altus. They have the same chance to drop, but there's 2 carrying the Warped Axe and only 1 carrying the Omen Cleaver. Naturally, we get 3 Omen Cleavers before we get the first axe. 1, 2, 3. Seriously, it's around an 8% drop chance with our arcane, and it took 15 minutes? Sometimes my luck is abysmal. But we're not in hell yet, not until we use the 4 belfries to warp to Farum Azula to get to fight 2 beastmen, only one of which has a 2% chance to drop the beast cleaver, technically 4% with our arcane, but warping through every time, nightmare. Also, they're still scaled for Farum Azula, so we can get shredded or pushed off. And you know what, folks? We can just do this later. When Farum Azula is fully unlocked, there will be a better place to farm. We're just gonna put this one on pause. Time to get some vengeance on all the little imps that have caused me so much irritation in previous runs. In the Murkwater Catacombs, we run in and explode 9 imps per run, with around a 4% drop rate for the forked hatchet from each of them. 1 in 25, if that's how you prefer to think about it. Still, my luck is terrible, so it takes forever. And despite being in a Limgrave Catacombs, they can still stack bleed to do some damage. It can be a little dangerous. We don't die here. It takes 10 minutes though. A bunch of Minotaurs and I can take a whole group of them at the same time. Google Tulok taking 11 Minotaurs at the same time on your work computer to find out more. It only takes 5 minutes to get the Guidance Counselor Axe, which does strike damage instead of standard. Why not make it a hammer? I don't know. Back to Castlemorn, there's a couple farmed drops here. The Iron Cleaver drops from the standard Misbegotten. The Long Shaft Axe drops from the big one, and the bow drops from the ones with the bow. That makes sense. Iron Cleaver drops first, also makes sense. Almost all of these little Misbegotten carry it. Something super annoying that keeps happening, the flying Misbegotten with the bow falls to its death. So I have to turn the camera and see if it dropped anything. At one point, that even gets us killed. With the frog mask on, it's basically that Kermit video.
Oh my god! Oh jeez! Oh my god! Oh,
We drop every extra cleaver we can pick up. It would just screw with the count. Sorry to the kids with bad basic axes in the third world, I guess. 20 minutes later, we finally get the bow. Now we're just rushing in for that long shaft. Now they say that long shaft axe is one bad mother. But I'm talking about the long shaft axe. Yeah, cool 40-minute farm for only 3 weapons, not great. Back to Lernia to farm more skeletons. I'm gonna pull my hair out farming these things. I guess that would stop them from pulling it up.
But not out!
Only takes about a minute to get the Executioner's Great Axe. Then I farmed the wrong Albernerics and got the Great Curved Club before farming the right ones for the Curved Club, and back to the Church of the Plague to kill the Battle Mage for the Stone Club. Lots of clubs, I'm a fan. Gatefront farm time. This is literally where every creator making Ash of War demonstrations comes, and like, why? Every Ash of War looks good here. There's the War Pick. I know this one knight can also drop the Partisan. If you liked 2 or more genders, it could be the Bipartisan, and get some stuff done in Washington. Or just act as a constant wall to the progressive agenda, preventing a lot of progress that would help her home state. Sorry, Kristen Cinema fans, you're catching strays 1 hour into the farm weapons video. Anyways, it drops, we bail, and even though we still need a crossbow from some of these dorks, we're just gonna come back for that later. Back to Lernia. In between the dog church and the study hall, we whack a flame monk and boogie back to the Grace until it drops the mace. Then we get out of this place. Bars. Time to farm pumpkin heads for the flail. We've been trying to get that flail pumpkin head as we see them, but now it's time for a true dedicated pumpkin farm. This is the best time to do it. Everyone else is gonna do it in October. We're gonna have a pumpkin monopoly. Seriously though, it should be around an 8% drop rate with our arcane, and it is just not hitting. 8% is a little less than 1 in 10. This is absurd. Even worse, it drops sanctuary stones 100% of the time, so it looks like it's a drop, and it isn't. Slowly melting my brain. That one dropped right after a follow from Bachinator, so hey, that one's for you. Why don't I have follows, subs, and chat on screen while I'm streaming?
I don't know how I can!
Yeah, streaming is not a meritocracy. I'm very bad at it, but got to be partner thanks to having an existing audience on YouTube. You thought we were done taking things from the Minotaurs? It's been an hour. I think I could go again. At first, I thought the glowy blue Minotaurs in the Saoirse Ronan Riverwell couldn't give me their great hammers, but I was wrong, they can. So I just set up at a Grace, ran to one of them, and reset over and over and over again until we get the Great Horn Hammer, which heals 3% of your max HP on a kill. Cool, I guess. I know I dunked on some spells for being useless since they're just worse versions of other spells that look slightly different, but for weapons, that's kind of the whole point. Just grab any hammer you like because it's cool and you'll still be using a hammer. There's only one that sucks. On to spears. The spiked spear drops from the marionettes. This one's really fast. Right back to the Saoirse Ronan Riverwell, go through the warp and start screaming for the claim and harpoon, basically what the crystal spear wishes it was. A spear with intelligence scaling, but you can infuse it with ice spear, or just use ice spear actually. When it finally drops, we get triples.
Triples makes it safe. Now, triples is best.
Can you tell this is the part of the script I started rewatching I Think You Should Leave? Speaking of,
That's good bone crushing.
we're outside the Turtle Church for the glaive from this one skeleton. I didn't know this skeleton was here, but it is. And they drop a unique weapon. It's another 8% drop because of our discovery level, and it's just taken forever to drop anyway. Yeah, around 14 minutes. Pretty crazy. Time to actually farm the Vulgar Militia when it's a good idea. You don't realize how many of these little dudes are carrying that chain weapon you can't use until you're farming the Shotel. It also seems like they really favor the saw. Oh, and we died, then it dropped. Maybe this game wants me to die. Wouldn't that be silly? Let's not dwell on that thought. To the Weeping Peninsula for the Guardian Sword Spear. It drops relatively quickly from the Guardian Sword Spear guys. Probably because we died recently. Then the Church of the Plague.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
For the Pest Glaive from the little Spider-Man. There are so many weapon drops right around here, and every time we farm, we have to hear Millicent crying. Girl, we will help you, but beating Niall will make us use a weapon that we don't want to use yet. So hold on. It's going to take way longer than it should. We're disguised as an Alberneric. Going to attack them feels bad, but their masks give us more arcane. Silver Tier Mask will give us more eventually, but that's locked behind the Mimic Tier, so we're waiting. The Ripple Crescent Halberd scales with arcane, so it should be pretty good for us. Also, because it's a halberd, and halberds are just kind of great. Boom, drop. Drop rates make you want to cry. Go to the Weeping Peninsula and then blow up a bunch of pages in a basement. Only takes 2 minutes to drop, so if you know a better place to farm the Red Branch Shortbow, I don't think you do. Liar. The next bow we need is the Golem Bow. Hey, there's one on the way to the Draconic Tree Sentinel, but after you kill him, he despawns forever.
Where are you?
Okay, now we have to do some mean stuff and kill the one by the Dectus Lift, even though it's not attacking us anymore.
I'm so sorry.
With our item discovery, this should be around a 20% drop rate, 1 in 5, the best drop rate we've had all night. Still terrible. The game wants me dead. Takes 8 minutes with 20% rate. Come on. Time to farm for some crossbows that are from just like really non-specific enemies. Extra Life says, oh, soldiers drop them. Thanks. I'll just look for soldiers in the game. I'm hitting the dudes by the Death Touch catacombs, but one of them falls off and it clearly had an item. So I run to the bottom, try to find it. It didn't fall all the way down. Wait, we can just fall down over here without dying. Of course. Okay, stop it. Stop it. I timed it out. That's a 90 frame drop, and we died. The Fallen Fringe Folk is 80 frames, and you don't take damage. So either they changed the death height for Fringe Folk, or 10 frames is the difference between no damage and death.
I hope you learned your lesson. I did and it hurt.
Anyway, when it drops 6 minutes later, we get doubles. Back to farming the Stormgate soldiers. Only 2 of them can drop the crossbow we need, but I'm starting to doubt. Again, these drop from soldiers, and there are soldiers everywhere. Thanks for the help. Apparently exile soldiers can drop it too. Lots of them in Stormvale. We have that unlocked. I just put Gatefront on my planning dock because I was planning to do all the farming before getting anything. Change that plan. We get a pike drop and then a soldier's crossbow. That's the one we had. Gatefront soldiers we were supposed to be farming were the ones through the gate by the troll. Heavy crossbow. Sorry, I've been forgetting to do the ABBA. Finally, Staff of the Guilty from Fort Lade, which writing fill counts as 183, but streaming fill counted as 181. That means, I don't know what the count is. I don't know. I just know that's the last farmed weapon we have to get. Now we're gonna go get all the weapons from the places we opened up on the way to get the Silver Scarab. But we are really making some progress. Those were the longest weapons. Until the Magma Blade, that's gonna mag my life miserable.
Breathing in the cold and sterile air.
The game wants me to quit, so it started dropping frames and killed me while I was trying to fix my capture card. Anyway, we're in the consecrated snowfield, taking on the Rotten Duelist, who has a Rot Breath we can't use, and a Rotten Battlehammer we can use. But I want the smaller, faster Rot Breath spell, please.
Give me that.
Flowing Curve Sword is just on the road in a carriage, as is St. Trina's Torch. It's good. If they sold these in the store, it would be highway robbery. Anastia gets hit with the Roar just so she doesn't bother us while we farm the Alberneric Bow. I've never fought one of these on Wolfback, but the Wolf has Frost Breath. That's pretty cool. Wish Torrent could do that, or do anything. Alberneric Bow drops from the second Archer, and now we're done in the consecrated snowfield. Everyone cheer. Somewhere we got some Death Spaghetti, so the Beast Seal is free. Then we'll head to Stormvale Castle, where there is a bunch of weapons we can grab. First, the Hook Claws, the first weapon we used on this channel in the Wolverine run. How the Fly Times. This next weapon is a brick. Hammer. It's mighty, just on the ledge hanging out. Silly Bird gets caught on a ledge. Drop it. Drop it. Drop it. But it is dropping. The Warhawk's Talon first drop. RNGesus is apologizing to us. Say hi to the land axe under the painting by the grafted scion and spend a stone sword key for the miséricorde. It's a French knife roughly the same size as a stone sword key. If you want to stab someone with a small dagger, let's just like use the stone sword key. We need a lot of drops from people in the courtyard. Thankfully, there are a lot of them. No drops the first time, but hey, we can grab the Godslayer seal from behind the fog wall. I realize this video is just the Fextra Life videos where they explore all the areas and get all the items, but would Fextra Life talk this much about dragon dildos?
I don't think so.
Can't really count all the dudes with Pokemon because we just sort of shout and they all die. I learned there's a path up next to the exploding arrow dudes. That's new. Gives us the Arbalist. At this point, we're farming the Torch Bowl, the Crescent Moon Axe, and the Spear. But none of them I see are carrying the Spear, and I can't get the ones on this path to let us get our hands on their hot poles or moon us until the moon drops here. Then we're just farming the pole. The Spear is in another castle, or another part of this castle. Upstairs there is one dude with a spear and one dude with the torch pole. So I'll just run up and down, back and forth again and again and again until eventually the spear drops first. Then we go back to the big group to farm the hot pole. There's 3 checks here, only 1 check upstairs. Takes around 40 minutes to clear out all of Stormvale, but we got 11 weapons. That's definitely not bad. Not as bad as it will get. The Royal Capital checks are so important. If we don't do these before killing Malekith, we lose them forever. Let's get this bread. The Gargoyle Howl bread, of course. And then into the Fortified Manor for the hammer, which gets to be number 200. Per our count, I think. Could be wrong. And this sword, which might not be bi, but it's bi-coated at least. Beat the crap out of the Lindell Knight outside for the Gravel Stone seal. It kinda sucks as a seal, but it boosts some of the best spells in the game, so just hold it in the offhand. Now we'll farm a little bit, both the little horny guys and the big guys upstairs. Duelist Great Axe drops first. Oh, forgot to grab the Starfist Tuna Fillets, by the way, some of the best weapons in the game. And another farmed drop, the Duelist Hammer, a little bit later. These dang envoys keep stripping for us with the white strips of flesh. I don't want stripping, I'm trying to get horny. That's the bad horn first. Now we just need the freaking amazing horn, and that takes about 10 minutes. The Envoy Longhorn is the good one. More weapons that we don't have to farm, very cool. Just gotta run around on some rooftops near the sexy bed, that's the Erdtree Bow. More rooftops in the lower part of the city. There is no reason to come here unless you want the black bow. So there is no reason to come here. Whoops, I forgot something in the consecrated snowfield, the Rotten Great Axe. He falls down, then we fall down over here and die? That's a lethal fall?
You expect me to believe that?
Next time, make sure the big buff guy doesn't go down. Might seem counterintuitive, but if you can see the fungal infection, you don't want them going down. Just a random weapon that's easy to forget. The Blade of Calling is near the Forbidden Lands. Ride backwards up the elevator. Might seem like a very milquetoast, less cool version of the Black Knife, but if you don't support the Blade of Calling, you have to use the Weathered Straightsword in all of your runs, and is that what you want? The worst items to get are in the mountaintops of the giants. Fighting Okina goes fine. Rivers of Blood got nerfed to hell, but I'm excited to see it. I mean, it's still a long-ass katana with bleed and fire damage. That's gotta be pretty good. Giant Conquering Hero's Grave breaks the capture card entirely. Okay, so I guess we'll be back in a second. Anyway, Giant Conquering Hero's Grave has 3 weapons we need, and 2 of them suck shit. One of them is the Flame Monk sword from this one monk in this little nook. It doesn't drop the first time. Then the Cranial Vessel Candle Stand, which is just behind a fog wall. Nice and free. Finally, the Gargoyle's Greatsword, which we have to farm from the Erdtree Guardians. It drops first try.
God done gave me more than I asked for, because he got this thing he has called grace.
We still have to reset over and over again for the Fire Monk sword, but at least the flamethrower is down and the imps are manageable with our gravity roar. Almost forgot there is a giant seal down in the basement, so there's 4 weapons here. 5 if you count the Zamor sword, but we're saving the bosses for later. It takes about 20 minutes for 4 weapons. That's not terrible. 5 minutes per weapons? I'll take it. It's certainly better than, oh, I don't know, a full hour of farming for a whip that's terrible. Okay, so the Thorn Whip only drops from one prelate by this bridge. His version of the whip is 1,000,000 times better than the one you get for several reasons. One, it's dummy thick and about 4 times as long. It also has the Flame Dance Ash of War that's exclusive to Giant's Braid. Like Millicent, he cheats and uses an Ash of War you don't get to use on a non-unique weapon. His armor might remind you of Executioner Smo from Dark Souls 1 because it's the same armor Smo wears with a red dress on tonight. That makes him pretty tanky. Then he has a giant AoE shooting out from his head, doing the Cranial Vessel Candlestand attack from a piece of the headgear. So not only does he get to cheat and get a unique Ash of War on his standard upgrade weapon, he cheats and puts a unique Ash of War on his helmet. But all of that would be fine if he didn't have an infinite amount of flame sorcerers around him. You might say, well, there's only like 6 flame sorcerers. No, I swear to God, these pieces of shit climb out of the freaking ground. Every time I think I've taken them all out, another one creeps up behind me and starts swatting me. What you basically end up with is Deacons of the Deep, except one of the Deacons is a fire giant wearing Smo's armor with bleed. Every time I do this farm, it's a boss fight, and my luck is abysmal here. We even get to die a few times. With a 4% base discovery and our arcane modifier, it has an 8% chance to drop the whip, which is roughly 1 in 12, actually a little better than 1 in 12. We hit 12 after 20 minutes of farming. He has not dropped it. Then we die again. Let's just try killing all the ads first, maybe. No. They pop out of the goddamn ground and he aggroes super fast. So while you kill the ads, he'll chase you around. It's damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. After 27 minutes, I decided we needed to switch the weapon. Radahn's sword is great for killing one enemy alone or millions of small dudes, but it doesn't do crowd control and one-on-one at the same time. So let's level up the Claymore and put on Rajir's Glintblade Phalanx. That helps us get some stance pressure to at least slow him down a bit with a few stance breaks. I don't know if it's actually better, but it feels better, so this is what I'm going with now. The bleakest part though, there's worse weapons to farm later, and we lose rune arcs when we die. Well, just don't spend a rune arc while you're farming, Phil. The rune arcs booster arcane, and it's farming. Why we wouldn't be dying if this just dropped at a reasonable time? We're only dying because we work at the buzzsaw farm, and sometimes there's a buzzsaw accident there. After 40 minutes of farming, we've gotten 24 dead prelates, around double the odds.
Wow, look, nothing.
Anyway, yeah, the Magma Blade is a 1% drop from 2 snakes in Volcano Manor, and we'll have to ride up an elevator every time they don't drop it. This is 4 times more likely to drop than that Magma Blade that's coming up, and it has taken 50 minutes at this point to give us nothing. A really bleak fact of statistics is we're no closer to getting this whip than we were when we started, despite killing 28 at this time. If it takes a proportionate amount of time to get the Magma Blade, that will be 4 hours by itself. We're going to spend an amount of time it took me to set my speedrun world record to get 1 weapon. Even worse, someone just sniped my world record. I can no longer say I am the world record Elden Ring speedrunner. This is the worst day. Chatters were saying, oh wow, flashbacks to the Banished Night run, or ooh, flashbacks to the Moon Knight run. No, this is the worst farm I've ever had to do, and I forgot to quit out when I went to the bathroom, so we died on the be right back screen. At over an hour in, we've hit 36, which is triple the most likely window that this thing should drop. It doesn't drop until 38, when we've spent a full hour and 15 minutes farming a weapon with a 1 in 12 drop rate.
And I'm sort of regretting praying to God for this show to work well, because that seems to have bit me in the ass.
Alright, after that pain, I quit early, so we didn't finish off the mountaintops of the Giants. This Tibia Mariner doesn't count as a boss, so let's just kill it for the health and steeple. Vari next, and whoops, we're in heavy load since invading takes away your Great Rune. Didn't realize it at this point, but you don't get Vari's bouquet when you win the fight. You have to go back and talk to him when he dies, so no new weapon yet. Altus for the Golem Halberd, it drops on the first Golem. Why didn't I do this earlier when I was taking out the bow one? Well, I wasn't doing zone defense at that point, it was more man-on-man action. Google Tulok man-on-man action. action on your work computer to find out more. Let's have a shitty time in the sewer, not because it goes bad, it's just the sewer, there's a lot of shit. Dung Eater is freed. We use the torch attack on the hand. Crazy. Despite having the torch, we still fell down the wrong hole, kind of embarrassing. Killing the Omen by the ladder. Doesn't drop a weapon, so I just break his stance and go up the ladder. Glint Blade Phalanx is pretty cracked for that. We won't fight Sewer Moog just yet, I'm just grabbing Grace while we're here. No, we're going for the Sword of Milosh. Check out the Dung Eater's sign at the Round Table Hold, then run down to the capital outskirts to fight the Crapital outshits. Crab instantly death blights him, so we get the Sword of Milosh for free.
I just wanted to say thanks, partner.
There's some items we can farm in Radahn's Hole, so let's hit it up. Some of these little dudes can drop the Iron Spear, but it's none of the ones right by the Grace. Look for the ones with the red shield, or I guess you could also look for the ones that have the spear. It's probably pretty telling for which ones drop the spear. They also drop Spirit Flame Arrows, which aren't a weapon, but they are the best frostbite ammunition in the game. When we eventually have to use bows, these will be nice. Focusing on the positive here. It drops after 15 minutes, not a great farm. For more irony weapons, let's get the Iron Greatsword, which only drops from the Leonine Misbegotten in that weird part of the royal capital that doesn't have any graces. There are technically two over here, but one of them has a dog by it, and dogs are more annoying to kill since they just kind of pin you to a wall sometimes and kill you, as evidenced here. It's really not that bad. Radahn's Roar is good enough to handle most of the enemies at the same time. Occasionally there's a straggler, but it's fine. A quick 20-minute farm for one weapon. Very cool. Streamphil said this was number 220. We'll sort that out later. That's the last one we can grab before fighting another boss, or at least I thought it was until I looked at my list. Stuff is messy. Okay, we'll skip the level up process of the Great Knife and the Reduvia and move on to fighting the Fire Giant. FromSoft has drastically nerfed the status buildup of power stance weapons, so Bleed isn't a total blender like it used to be, but Reduvia doesn't fuck around. And the Great Knife also has Bleed, not as much. Well, first boss in a while and 12th overall. We're averaging less than a boss per hour. Yikes. Burn down the Erdtree and get the Giant's Red Braid at the Round Table Hold, then grab D's armor for later. That's one I'm really worried I'm gonna forget to do. Time for more bad farming. In Farum Azula, we're looking for the Beastman's Curved Sword. There's like 7 that can drop it by the first Grace that we never grab because it's bait. It's just there to get you killed by the insane combos of the Beastmen. Par exemple,
Combo combo! That ain't Falco! That ain't Falco!
Blood for the Blood God. We got the curved sword right after. To prepare for the Godskin duo, we grab Rot Breath. Ideally, we'll just rot them while Bernie takes the aggro, then use the offhand seal to double swat with the Dragonclaw spell. It's the perfect plan, just gotta summon Bernie and... Wait, where's Bernie?
You've killed me!
Right. Oh, whoops. Well, we're wearing thick armor and getting rot on, and we'll start swatting. According to the comments on the dragon spells, I was only dying in that run because I wasn't wearing armor. The Dragonclaw spell won't get you killed if you're wearing armor.
So that was a fucking lie.
Try again with the Great Shield Soldiers to distract them, and no, Dragonclaw is still ass. It wasn't just the lack of armor that got us killed. Armor is not that helpful when you're casting a spell that takes longer to kill someone than a Japanese girl in a VHS tape.
You will die in 7 days.
Let's give the dragon spells some help by grabbing the sleep pot recipe, then running around to buy pots. Go back to the fight, put them both to sleep, get them both rotted at the same time, and then they wake up. And also, I didn't get the skinny to be rotted, so that's bad. They always wake up and just kick the shit out of us because dragon spells cost 1,000 magic per cast and come out slower than a teenager in the Midwest. This is really turning into a roast of the dragon spells part 2, but to be fair, it is my fault for expecting them to be useful in any way. Fudge it, let's do Moog instead with the Hook Claws and the Bloodhound Claws. We didn't optimize our builds for these, they're still on standard affinity. Bleed is really good against Moog, but to be fair, Rot is really good against the Godskins, and the Godskins don't get buffed when they're rotted. I don't know, it just seems like we gotta make a lot of excuses for the spells that we don't for weapon. Moog dies really easy. It's a lot of runes we can use to level up. Here's where I realized I didn't get the bouquet yet. It's kind of funny to kill Vari's God before killing him. Rest in piss, dork. And then we get the Moog Trident too. Hey, Vari's Bouquet is one of the worst weapons in the game, so let's use it on the easiest boss, along with the Envoy Horn, because that's also terrible. Look how pathetic these bubbles are. The bouquet at least has bleed, so we can occasionally get some chunks off the Mimic. Occasionally. It takes so goddamn long, eventually the game just glitches and puts Scarlet Rot on the Mimic. I wonder how that happened. Pay no attention to the Anspur Rapier in my left hand. That's just how the Envoy Horn looks sometimes. Sewer Moog is going to get the curved Greatsword double treatment, Omen Cleaver, and Monk's Flame Blade. I've never power stanced Greatswords before, but
Oh, that's hot.
That's hot.
They just swing so fast while being heavy at the same time. We couldn't get statuses on this guy, so I just put 2 weapons on that are like weapons, and they rip. I think Monk's Flame Blade should at least have faith scaling like the Erdsteel Dagger, so it benefits from flame weapon arts. What's the deal with the Monk's Flame Blade? There's no flames! Time to play some Fall Guys like it's 2021 again. Simpler times. Better times?
Not for all.
It's not a test of platforming, it's a test of quit out speed. Get down to the bottom and fall down to the deep root depths, a fantastic, wonderfully designed area with gravity that works the same way it does in the rest of the game, I am sure. Pop some ants, turns out we weren't as low on rune arcs as I thought, because we haven't killed the ants yet. Oh, hey, we can go get the Staff of the Avatar. Let's go do that and fall off harder than my expectations for the new live action Avatar did. It's just a matter of killing this Erdtree Avatar. This one doesn't count as a boss, it just drops the staff for another weapon. Probably one of the best staffs in the game, because, you know, it's not a staff, it's a weapon. Time for the Incel River Main. Go a little off the main path in the cave and you can grab the Wing of Astel. Cranial Vessel Candle Stand isn't leveled up, but it looks cool when it hits the Astel Jr. More than anything, we're here to grab Ghost Gloveworts. This run has gone on long enough. I am grabbing the Mimic tier, and then maybe we can get it done before the DLC comes out. I hope it's out before this video comes out, but I'm writing this on the 17th of February, and we haven't heard anything about it yet. Seems like a bad sign for a February release. Black Wet Blade will give us some more options with Ashes of War, but yeah, the Mimic tier is just gonna be really, really helpful. And we're still just gonna be using the weapons we're holding. We're just gonna be using them twice. Now with the Mimic tier up to +10 and Rot Breath and Swatting, we can sleep the Godskins up and rot them and handle them one at a time. I like that the Mimic actually respects the sleep. That's very cute and very funny. As they spawn in, we put the Apostle to sleep and then kinda out of magic. God, the dragon spells are great. Love that they use so much magic. We just can't invest in mind because we need so many other stats. Oh well. Claymore, take me home. Is swapping to the Claymore 75% of the way through the fight against the rules?
Who gives a shit? For your help.
Finally time for the swag jump, and then it's time to start farming the Beastman's Cleaver. It's another 2% drop, turned to a 4% drop with our Arcane. Nothing eventful here, just ride down the elevator and try again, and again, and again. 15 minutes in, we've hit 25 of them and don't have it. That's around the average odds, since, 4%. 37 minutes in, we've hit 50, so double the odds. And roughly 53 minutes later, the Cleaver finally drops at number 75, nearly triple the odds. Magma Sword is half as likely to drop, so that's at least gonna be 2 hours. I really think that's the one that's fully gonna break me. But for now, because I needed sleep, we'll find out next time. Oh, also I did the bird run if that matters. Anyway, next session. Wow, stream 7 already, how the time flies. I realized in between streams there's some weapons I forgot, like the Ghost Flame Torch in Nokron. And since Sewer Moga is dead, we can feed Irina all of her grapes, yummy, 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 then go to the sewer and get fingered and burn a girl's eyes out. Hot. Frenzied Flame Seal acquired. Back in Deeproot, fall to our death, and grab the Prince of Death's staff. Am I Prince? Maybe I used to be Prince, now I'm just a symbol. Lake of Rot is hot to trot, but I forgot to raise enough of the ruins, so I gotta drop back down and do it again. Who cares if I'm wasting time? Not like this one's already long or anything. Beating the Alabaster Lord here gives us his sword. It's called the Alabaster Lord's Sword.
Oh, that's why they call it that.
Right in the Grand Cloister, we can grab the Scorpion Stinger, just blasting through these now. Back to Rockon, I missed the weapon out the window, then back through a window again for the Not Flowing Hammer. It's the Nox Flowing Hammer.
Are you sure about that?
Just in case Malekith goes bad, we'll fight the Draconic Tree Sentinel outside. It's not super smooth, but it's fine. This build's kind of all over the place with its stats, and I haven't maxed out a weapon. It kind of takes longer than I'm used to it taking. Malekith is going to get some love from this spear and the Partisan, 2 spears that are spears. I throw some poison and bleed on them as well. This should go great. Mimic comes in. We've got 4 poles thrusting into Malekith at the same time, proccing the status effects he's weak to. Phase 2 resets those resistances, and the reach of the spears helps account for his weird triangle-y body. While the build is super messy, we do benefit from the ability to choose whatever we want for each boss. Black Blade acquired at the Round Table Hold after we cash in that remembrance. Gideon gets the Finger Seal and Frenzied Flame Seal, which is really just here to boost the frenzied spells. That contributes to the fight, so we've used both seals with the Cyclops spell attack. It works great, and he drops the Hammer of the All-Knowing. Into the Altus Tunnel, because at this point we've bought all of EG's Somberstone 3s and 4s. Easy fix, use 2 hammers on the Crystallian Duo. We're using a hammer and stone hammer, I think, stone club, maybe. I forgot to put it in the script. We use 2 hammers. I have it marked off on my notes. thing, so it's fine. Individually, hammers might be good, but I've figured out that the power stance moveset is absolute dog water. We're going to be using them on easy bosses whenever we can. Easy bosses that also happen to be weak to strike damage are even better. Godfrey is getting another dose of double spears. We've got the Bolt of Sex and the Pike. I didn't upgrade the Pike, that's all the Mimic is using, because I don't have enough dex for the Bolt of Sex, so you know, it doesn't go well. We really need to get our dex high enough for the Mimic to use it before we come in and do the fight. Let's go get a different weapon for a different boss that will lead to a boss that's worth enough runes to level us up to get enough dex to come back and fight Godfrey. Did you hear about the lady who swallowed a fly? Gina Davis. Cool movie. Royal Revenant gets hit with a beast sling. That didn't work well, even with the boosted Syncadea and the Clawmark seal. Though they both contributed to the fight, guess we're just gonna have to use a healing spell and destroy it. I'll be real though, y'all. If you like to use healing spells against the Royal Revenants, why aren't you just hitting them? Hitting them also kills them. You're finding a harder solution to an easy problem. That's the Frozen Needle. Grab Seppuku from the Frozen Lake in the Mountaintops of the Giants because for whatever reason, the Antspur Rapier is a standard weapon, which means we can infuse it with Seppuku. Put Poison Infusion from the Black Wet Blade, and now we can get 3 status effects on 1 weapon. Noble, you are about to have a bad time. Frostbite first, then Rot, Poison, and Bleed from 1 stick. It's a great way to use both rapiers when power stancing rapiers. Kinda sucks. And we get a great thrusting sword here, the Godskin Stitcher. On the way to Rykard, we get our first Magma Blade attempt, and it drops nothing. Damn. Hey, wait, if we don't get the Flame Magma Whip before we kill Rykard, I think Patches leaves and we can't get it. So let's go fight Makar with the Battle Axe and the Forked Axe unupgraded. Forked Hatchet has Bleed. If you got Bleed, you don't need to upgrade. Power Stancing Axes is the same moveset as Power Stance Tamers, so just hit with the jump attacks because the moveset's awful. And get the Magma Worm's Scale Sword for our troubles. Patches has a letter for us.
Wait a minute!
And we fight the poisiest of boys, Tragoth. He's so thick, but we still win. Patches gives us the Magma Whip Candlestick, and we are good to go kill Rykard. On the way, I guess we'll just keep checking for the Magma Blade, second attempt.
Grace is when you get what you don't deserve.
It just dropped? It just dropped for me? Finally, something in this goddamn game just dropped for me. And it was the worst thing to drop. Right down the path, there's another snake. It drops the Gmir Glintstone Staff. 11% drop rate, that's 22 for us. Doesn't drop the first time. That's okay. Serpent Hunter and Lance. Apparently, if you power stance them, you get 2 blasts of wind. With the Mimic, that's 4. And dude, why are you shooting the floor? This aim is worse than my aim in middle school. I had a fire away message, but I just can't talk over text. My guy is pissed off at this floor. Apparently you're supposed to crouch stab, back up, double flip, 9-2-doop-doop. It's like Ocarina of Time speedrun. But hey, you solved another problem that didn't need fixing. It's Rykard with the Serpent Hunter. Just use the Serpent Hunter. It's done. That's all you have to do. The amount of comments I get that are like, Rykard isn't bad if you just get a second Great Spirit power stance. No, he's bad because the fight is bad. It's just not a fun fight. It's not a hard fight. It's just not a fun one. Anyway, that's how we use the Lance and the Serpent Hunter. Cash that boss's hole in for the Blasphemous Blade. At least you get a good reward for a bad boss. Let's go back to the manor and finish it off with the Gmir Glintstone Staff. 11% drop rate turns into 22 for us again, or roughly 1 in 5. Second try, nothing. Third try, nothing. Fourth try, nothing. Fifth try, nothing.
Fuck God.
It drops on number 8. Not terrible. Commander O'Neill, I'm bringing the Scythe and the Grave Scythe unupgraded because they both have Bleed, but they're also terrible and I should have remembered that. The Reaper Power Stamp moveset is bad, but it's the only time we have to use it. The other 2 Reapers, I'm just gonna hit the Halo button and win. Very close to dying to Rot here, but we get the Grace just in time and get the Commander Standard for our troubles. Now we do the optional Millicent questline that isn't mandatory. However, getting the Prosthesis Wearer's Heirloom will give our Mimic enough dex to properly wield the Bolt of Sex for Godfrey. Remember, that's what this whole long detour was, although we also did a bunch of stuff that we have to do anyway. Let's get back to it. That extra dex has turned our damage up slightly. The bigger boost comes from the Mimic actually contributing. In phase 2, we get grabbed twice, but it doesn't matter. We got that damage. After cashing in that boss's hole at the Round Table Hold, we have the Axe of Godfrey. For Elden Beast and Placiduous Axe, I want a few spells. We get Ancient Dragon Lightning Strike, Black Flame, and Carrion Slicer. That's not actually for these 2 bosses, that's for another boss later. Placiduous Axe is going to get the Giant's Seal as our actual casting seal, the Gravelstone Seal in our offhand, just to boost the lightning spells. Now, does the Giant's Seal have the best faith scaling at our level or something? No, we just gotta use both. I mean, it could, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, Ancient Dragon Lightning Strike does really good against the Ancient Dragon. Who could have guessed? We win. 2 more seals off the list. Dragon King's Crag Blade costs 20,000 runes at the round table hold after we cash in the soul? That's absurd. This weapon sucks. I mean, it's fine as a great thrusting sword, but the Ash of War is miserable. It always gets you fucking swatted out of the air. It's fine. I want to nut on the Elden Beast as punishment for our bad RNG, so let's give Millicent her arm back, and then the spider will sell us pest threads. Radagon and the Elden Beast are getting the Godslayer seal and the Erdtree seal with Black Flame, the Nut, and Holy Resistance spell in our spell thing that where we have spells. This is a long video. I can't remember the name. We're using those spells. That's what we're using. I don't ever cast the Holy Resistance spell because I have no spare runes for mine investment. We're stingy out here. Black Flame does its job against Radagon, and then the Nut absolutely shreds Elden Beast. It is really cute that Glintstone Spiral enjoyers try to say, yeah, it's just as good as Pest Threads against the Elden Beast. No, it isn't. And Pest Threads is even more efficient against smaller enemies, and it only costs 11 faith investment. So, you can just admit that you have worse things than the incantation enjoyers. It's fine. Now we can cash in God's Hole for the Sacred Relic Sword and level it up. This is actually the ideal farming tool. Forget the scythe. You can get 2 rewards for cashing in the Elden Beast soul, so we need to duplicate it. In the Consecrated Snowfield, we can knock down another turtle, and here's a tip I have not seen spammed everywhere. The Sacred Relic Sword is really good at cleaning turtles. The Ash of War just gets those barnacles off instantly, and you can be far enough away that you don't have to worry about getting stomped. Not that, like, dying is a huge problem, it's just kind of annoying to do. So, dupe that God's Hole. Now we have the Gold Breaker, America's Hammer. We're ending our stream going through the liturgical town and heading into the Haligtree to try and farm the Envoy's Greathorn. This is another rough one. It's a 2% drop rate, which is 4% for us, or 1 in 25. But getting to the dude who actually drops it requires platforming, ant fighting, and quitting out. Then fighting a dude with the most delayed attacks in the game. It is so hard to dodge something that takes longer to come out than that last little bit of toothpaste. If you quit out to get the ants to despawn, they actually go back to their spawn location, which is directly in front of your face, so you gotta be ready for that, wild. After about 25 minutes, we had to call it a day, but we were only at 14 attempts. It takes a long time to run over there, sometimes to quit out. I'm not that upset about the farming odds. Yet. Maybe I will be in the next stream. Ooh. Back again, the stupid camera broke. Oh well, we'll just keep grinding. No deaths during this farm, but we get close a lot, what with the terrain being difficult. It cuts our movement speed in half, and the ants and the big boy keep trying to shove us off. Even at Jim Carrey's The Number 23.
I'll be honest, I didn't get it.
And then we keep going until 34, which is actually something I should have remembered. There's a rule that the Great Oracle Envoys drop their horn on the 34th death. Automatically Google Great Oracle Envoy Rule 34 on your work computer to find out more. Oh, and for Pokemon counters, that's Nidoking. Not great odds, but we'll take it, especially since that's our last farmed weapon.
Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong.
Almost got God in the Haligtree, but I am too fast on the quitouts. Fastest hand in the West over here, the Midwest. Anyway, swag jump made. Let's fight Loretta with the Dragon King's Crag Blade and the Great Epi. How's the move set for power stanced heavy thrusting swords? Marginally better than base thrusting swords. We goofed and didn't give the Mimic enough dex to properly use Dragon King's Crag Blade, so he just kind of shakes it around sometimes. Not all that helpful. But it's Loretta, so, we're fine. She doesn't have enough health for this point in the game. She drops her sickle, which isn't a Reaper. I mean, that's probably for the best, right? Halberds are better. On the way to Elphael, this Clean Rot drops another spear after it took us 30 minutes to farm them earlier. Thanks. Right down the road, there's a Putrid Avatar we can burn down for the Rotten Staff, probably best staff in the game because it's a colossal weapon with rot on it and you don't have to use spells. The Crystallion drops the Rotten Crystal Staff. Wait, no it doesn't. Is this another farm?
Oh, you betcha, yeah.
Then get pinned by the Putrid Avatar and 3 Knights, a different Putrid Avatar than the other one. To be fair, I noticed the Putrid Avatar was taking hits from the ballistas, so I thought we could use it as a shield while it was stance broken. Apparently not all the friendly fire is turned off, only some of the friendly fire. Weird shit. Okay, according to chat, if you kill these Putrid Spear guys by the Crystallion, they don't respawn. Let's try that. It would be way closer to the Grace than the other one, and it's blocking the Rotten Crystal Sword. Wait a minute. None of the Crystallions use swords. They should give us the ring weapon for Elden Ring.
Unprofessional bullshit.
Turns out the spear guys do respawn, and the Putrid Avatar from earlier doesn't. So the other staff guy is way easier to farm. We get it in around 5 minutes. 16% drop rate with our arcane, not super shocking, it was fast. Now that is the last weapon we need to farm.
I'm gonna tell him.
Don't you dare.
I'm really good at falling to my death, everyone. Not every gamer could thread this needle. Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman will help for Melania, and yeah, we're fighting Melania before Renala. What a world. She gets the Blasphemous Blade and the Helfin Steeple. If we can proc Frostbite, that would be great, but it didn't happen. Remember, power stance statuses got nerfed. Instead, it's a whole lot of Taker's Flames and occasionally some power stanced Great Swording, especially in Phase 2 when I ran out of mine for more Taker's Flames. Easy win. Blasphemous Blade is basically the Serpent Hunter for Melania. Cash in her hole for her hand, the Hand of Melania, then ride up the elevator outside her arena and climb the ladder for the McKellen Night Sword. Why not just like put the sword at the top of the elevator? I don't know. Actually, I do know. You can get killed by the Putrid Avatar if you haven't killed it before. It'll snipe you while you're climbing the ladder. Fia's champs are getting another funky Faith Int hybrid moveset, Star Scourge Greatswords and Malekith's Black Blade. Yeah, we haven't used these Star Scourge Greatswords on a boss yet. We just used them to farm. I wanted some big AoEs, and I think trying to use the unupgraded Black Blade first is why this was going so slow. Once we switch to the +10 weapon we've been using to kill mobs all over the world, it goes faster. Shocking. Whoops, just realized we need to clear Carrier Manor if we want to fight Fortisax, so let's hit the Ghost Loretta with Curved Club and Monk's Flame Mace. Okay. I put Flaming Strike on so we'd get some flat damage buffs, forgetting that this fight will probably take place on water, but Flaming Strike is just so cracked. You don't really need to upgrade the weapon to do adequate damage early game bosses because it's a flat buff. That'll save us a lot of time leveling weapons up. We can just put this on any basic weapon basically, and we're good to go. As far as the water goes, it's not a problem if we just bait her and bully her into the corner. Right after she's dead, we get the best ice spell in the game, the Chilling Mist, Ash of War, and do the Ronnie mashing. Get the knife, give her the knife, get the statue, go to the top of the study hall. We do it every time, and this video is already way longer than every other video we've ever made. Please watch it again tomorrow, because it was a lot of work. If you thought we were done mashing through dialogue, think again. Let's mash through Fia's dialogue. Fortisax gets the Magic Glint Blade treatment. We'll use the Astrologer's Staff to cast it, and get the boost from the hash slinging, the slash ringing, the bash singing, the Carrion Glint Blade Staff. It completely trivializes the fight. God, it is hard to record this much script for a video. My mouth is falling apart. His soul doesn't cash in for a weapon, but it does open up another weapon check. We can give Dee's brother Dee's nuts, then he'll call Fia a derogatory name for a sex worker, and I'm sorry, dude. We respect sex workers in this house. Thank you for your service, Fia. Don't forget to salute the real troops. Dee drops the inseparable sword, and it's ironic. You say that you hate those who live in death, but you died? Curious. Remember those spear guys I thought didn't respawn? Well, it's good that they do. They drop the Putrid Crystal Spear, but they are a huge pain to fight with 3 rock-hard guys in a tight little hole. We end up dying a few times just trying to figure out how to, do this in any way that's easy and quick. Eventually we figure out we have to bait them out one at a time with Rock Sling and then hit them with the sword. And then the next time, they just drop it right away. Wasn't all that bad. Other than, dying 4 times. I think that's the most we've died doing an item farm. Huh. Time for an easy boss, the Mad Pumpkinhead with some bad weapons. The short bow aims poison arrows at his head, so the poison doesn't actually proc. We have to get in close and wait for him to slam his head down to actually get them to connect. I wish you could just have different lock-ons for this boss. I guess that defeats the purpose of the Pumpkinhead being pumpkin-y. Then we swap to the Soldier's Crossbow, and I've heard tell about how terrible crossbows are. It's not even leveled up. I'm ready to see some terrible damage. This is fine? I know I'm gonna get some heat for saying spells are bad, but the crossbow seems okay. I don't know, it seems okay. Gathering ammo sounds annoying, but if we got that rat-a-tata out of the pulley crossbow, that could be kind of sick. Okay, now we chat with Selen and get her quest moving and eventually get a gun. Gun is probably better than crossbow by 100 or so years of technology. Selen quest, grab Comet Azur on Mount Gelmir. Go back to Selen. Go to the Celia hideaway. Find a loose stat. And now that I know that we have enough weapons to beat all the bosses without running out, let's just go fight the Putrid Crystallian trio with the Ringed Finger and the Nox Hammer. Both are unupgraded, but both are strike weapons, so they should hit them pretty hard, and oh my god. Claw Flick on this finger is insane. Huge stance pressure, knockback, huge damage from a weapon that is completely unupgraded. Okay. I've got to remember to use the Nox Hammer too, and this Ash of War is also sick. Big old area seems to hit decently hard with some decent stance pressure. It's a shame we're using these weapons here. They could have been better against a better boss if we upgraded them. Back to the Weeping Peninsula to rip Selen's heart out and one-shot a marionette with the finger on the way out. Sadly, you have to reload the area to go back to talk to Jaren in there before you can take Selen Selen's heart and put it in her doll. But to maximize efficiency, and by that I mean to not maximize our efficiency, I go to the Incel Rivermain and grab the Ronnie doll so we can fight the Baleful Shadow. Blasphemous Blade just knocks her down repeatedly. It's so free. Here's where the whoopsie is. You have to have the ring to activate the Blythe Tower fight, so no Royal Greatsword for us. Yet. We can still activate Selen and get Piteous Bellbearing to buy the Ripple Blade at the Round Table Hold. Weird stuff time. We can summon Selen for the Red Wolf of Radagon. It's not like we need a lot of help, but it's not like she provides a lot of help. The spells she uses are terrible. I talked about it 2 weeks ago, but yeah, these suck. We're using the Whip and the Urimi, 2 whips, because this boss fight should be kind of a joke. With unupgraded weapons, Selen boosting the Red Wolf's health because we summoned her, and the fact that she doesn't actually deal that much damage, this actually turns into a decently long fight. Pretty funny. More weird stuff. We're going to use the Scorpion Stinger and the Bloodstained Dagger against Renala. If you proc, rot, or poison while she's on the ground, the damage keeps ticking away. It won't kill her to push her into the phase transition until she hits the ground, so you still gotta hit some kids. In phase 2,
well, let's fire up the old blender.
her poise is so low. Every hit of the daggers from us and the Mimic interrupts her. She doesn't even get to try and summon. Poor gal. Cash in that boss's hole for the Carrion Regal Scepter, one of our highest requirements with 60 intelligence. Realize there were actually 2 more weapons we can grab in Raya Lucaria now that the dog is dead. Blasphemous Blade proves it's just the best weapon in every scenario. Running through the overworld, you get healed whenever an enemy dies. So no wasting flasks on chip damage. Playing a little Super Mario Ring Shine by jumping around the rooftops to circle around and climb a ladder. What a thrill. Full Moon Crossbow for that. More rooftop jumping and falling down some rafters will let us grab the Azure Glintstone Staff, something I really should have paired with a casting seal, but whoops. We're done with casting seals. Everyone makes mistakes in the heat of passion, Jimbo. Let's help Selen blow up Jaren. She might be pathetic, but that's my wife, Jaren, and you should be nice to her. She rewards us with the Glintstone Chris. That's just a gun. Pick up the wedding ring, and now Ronnie and I will both draw cards at the same time. It's a great spell to put in your group hug deck, but it's an awkward card to play when you're in a 4-pod with your real-life girlfriend and don't want her drawing more cards. You gotta propose to someone else in front of her. It's weird. I thought Astel had better magic resistance, but it's just 40, so I'm gonna shoot him with a gun. And also, the Ivory Sickle is here. Look, we did use it a little. See? We just used the gun a lot more. Up to the Moonlight Altar, we meet Tim Burton's Corpse Bride for the Dank Moon Greatsword, and cash in Astel's Hole back at the Round Table Hold for the Bastard Stars. It actually feels like we're making progress. Maybe we will get this done before the DLC comes out, especially if, the DLC doesn't come out.
10, 10, 10, 10 for everything.
We start the next stream in the town of Horsery for an imbued sword key because we spent the free one we got to go to Faramazula. Embarrassing. Grafted Scion is getting the Guidance Counselor and Warped Axes because power stanced axes are bad and I don't want to waste anything good here. Grafted Scion has no health. Ornamental Straight Sword. In the pocket. We are now at the point in the game where the bosses we fight will drop weapons for the most part. Black Knife Assassin, guess what that one drops? They get the nerfed Ice Rind Hatchet and the Rosus Axe. I mean, sure, Hoarfrost Stomp got nerfed to shit, but big boy, how is the Rosus Ash of War? Roses really smell like Frostbite is enough to carry for the Black Knife. Thank God. While testing the Great Hammer Power Stance moveset, we got invaded by Marluxia again. Hey, long time no see, die. We're leveling the Brick Hammer and the Pickaxe, 2 weapons of the workers, for the Valiant Gargoyles, but that was a bad idea for a couple of reasons. First, the Pickaxe deals pierce damage, not strike damage. Second, it's not actually a Great Hammer. It's a Great Axe. That's just in the Great Hammer category. It power stances with Great Axes though, and even has axe in the name. What's the deal with that? It's not an axe! Thankfully, the Valiant Gargoyles are pretty weak to strike, so even the unupgraded Celebrant Skull works with the leveled up Brick Hammer. Probably just the Brick Hammer, to be honest. They drop the Gargoyle's Great Sword and Gargoyle's Twin Blade, a 2-for-1 special, just like the boss fight. Blackblade Kindred gets the Great Mace, and the Great Horn Hammer strike is just really good against these dudes, huh? With that, we get the Gargoyle's Black Blade and the Gargoyle's Black Halberd, 2 of the most disappointing weapons in the game. They add faith scaling holy damage and can't be infused, but they don't have Black Death Flame, like the Gargoyles do. Come on! Because there are now an odd number of hammers that aren't the pickaxe, we have to use one on its own, and I'll be honest, 2-handing weapons is just sort of better than power stancing. So my favorite son, the Great Stars, gets a boss fight all to himself with the Stormcaller Ash of War and Bleed, because you can put Stormcaller on the Great Stars? Oh my god. Elmer of the Briar, meet my favorite Great Stars Wars strategy.
I'll try spinning, that's a good trick.
God, I love this thing. Marius Executioner's Sword in the bag, and actually we have a positive boss to death ratio finally. Technically that happened after the Valiant Gargoyles, but I didn't notice it until now. Let's go buy the Marget Shackle from Patches just to make some heroes' graves easier, like the Oriza hero's grave. You can just slap it down to skip 90% of the dungeon. Very fun. Or not fun. It's just not fun. Crucible Duo gets the duo of Colossal Hammers. The Cranial Vessel Candlestand and the Devourer's Scepter both have big fire damage, and we can finish the fight with a hell of a surge. Super cool. Ordovus Greatsword in the bag. Next up, the Deathrite Bird in Caelid. Or is it just a Death Bird? It's the one that drops the Death Poker. I looked at it. I was right. It's a Deathrite Bird. We're using the Scepter of the All-Knowing Ash of War to lower its holy resistance, then bashing it with Marika's Hammer's Gold Breaker until it stun locks us with its Ghost Flame. We also take more damage from magic because of Gideon's hammer. Second try, we don't get stun locked and we win. Like I said earlier, this is the Death's Poker one. It drops Death's Poker. Forlorn Cave. Let's beat up a misbegotten Crusader with the Falchion and the Scimitar Soldier, loading it up with fire damage. Both of them with fire damage. That'll get us the Golden Order Greatsword, but this is just the first on our chain of furries, an underrated Kingdom Hearts game, if we're being honest. Blythe isn't a boss, so we just smack him with the Blasphemous Blade. He drops his armor, and once his clothes are off, we can grab that thick thing he's been swinging around.
What's between his knees and how can we find out?
It's the Royal Greatsword. Now it's time for the last weapon of Morn Castle, I think, held by another Leonine Misbegotten. We're using the Giant's Red Braid and the Smegma Whip. Both have unique Ashes of War, both interrupt his poise, both are totally unupgraded, but our stats are endgame level, even if they're all spread around. Grafted Blade Greatsword could come in handy if we need extra stats. Leveling up now is kind of a rarity. The furry attacks continue on the third Misbegotten with a legendary sword. Weird. Magma Blade and ShamWow. Dare I say it, Magma Blade is pretty cool. Is it worth the farming odds? It certainly is if it drops on the second try. Thanks for the Ruins Greatsword, boys. My video game broke climbing the Divine Tower of Caelid. I guess that counts as a death. Elden Ring just wasn't meant to be pushed this hard. This save file is at like 30 hours at this point. Should I have fought the Godskin Apostle at the Divine Tower of Caelid with completely unupgraded weapons? Probably not. We had Frostbite on the Shotel and Bleed on the Bandit's Curve Sword. I just thought status effects would carry us through. Second time, they did, so who's laughing now? Seriously though, Chilling Mist is so busted as an Ash of War. It's the best Frost Ash of War other than Dank Moon Greatsword, but this one can go on any weapon and only requires you to beat Loretta. Technically, the Apostle doesn't drop the Godslayer's Greatsword. It's in a chest behind the boss, but like, come on. This dude drops the Godslayer's Greatsword. Let's be real with ourselves. Sanguine Noble, Mantis Blade, and Scavenger's Curved Sword. He's weak to bleed just like Moog, so we don't upgrade them. Free Bloody Hellas, when I remember to go back for the chest. Why does the War Pick work as a real hammer when the Pickaxe doesn't work as a great hammer? I don't know, but we're using the War Pick and the Peyronie's Club for the Nox duo. We're officially done with basic hammers, but get the Nox Curved Sword and Lustat Staff. 2 bosses, 2 weapons. Love the consistency. Great Axe and Pickaxe for Darwill. Hit the jump attack button. That's a Bloodhound Fang for our Bloodhound gang. By the way, everyone, thank you for making the Bloodhound Night video our biggest video ever. It's really bad touching to see a silly joke video I made to reference a butt rock group do so well. Onyx Lord gets a terrible weapon and honestly a pretty decent weapon, the Muppet and the Cypher Ptah. Bear Witness is about as effective in a boss fight as it is in a courtroom. Sure, the idea of a grizzly hopping up to take the stand and to talk about how he saw the suspected arsonist with cans of gasoline sounds funny, but when she starts mauling the judge, bad plan. Cypher Ptah is fine. Onyx Lord drops his sword. Back to the giant conquering hero's grave. To open the boss door, you have to dominate this large guy. They should call it Big Dom Hero's Grave. Hit him with the Swords of Revealing Light, then just hit him with regular swords. Easy. But he's not the boss here. He's just a sub-boss, which is why you have to dom him. Hero of Zamor is getting the Rivers of Blood and the Meteoric Ore Blade. Rivers of Blood gets the bleed, I think. The jump attacks hit at the same time. Either or, I suppose. More like either Zamor Curved Sword. Boy, 2 really bad puns in a row. Magma Worm in the Gale Tunnel, it's getting the Flail and the Chain Flail. We jump attack to get stance breaks, then bust out the greatest power in the lands between.
I'll try spinning. That's a good trick.
And Moonveil from the Flail. The Dragonkin Soldier in the Lake of Rot is a bad boss. The Rot makes you want to do the fight fast. His moveset makes you back off, doesn't work well. We rock Eleanor's Pole Blade and the Twin Blade just to stack bleed as fast as possible and get the Dragon Scale Blade. Nothing fancy for the Godskin Apostle, just a Highland Axe and the Iron Cleaver. Jump attacks because axes have bad movesets. No upgrades means chip damage, to put it generously, but keeping the pressure up will get us the W, and you can't spell Godskin Peeler without W. Then blow up Millicent for her prosthesis. 5 extra decks will help us hit requirements to use Hand of Millennia later, and the combo damage boost is nice too. Blackblade Kindred in the 4 Biden lands is getting the Great Club and Peyronie's Club double bonk. If you don't know what Peyronie's has to do with Biden, Google Biden Peyronie's on your work computer. Visual learners should check image search. It's another twofer. Gargoyle's Black Blades plural, not to be confused with Gargoyle's Black Blade singular, and the Gargoyle's Black Axe. I realized we need some bloody crossbow bolts, so we head into the dark cave of Mogwin and kill the merchant. That gives us the bell bearing to just buy them. But alas, the consequences of our actions get us killed and we get pinned in a corner by a sanguine noble. I was gonna fight the Deathbird in the Weeping Peninsula, but forgot the Knight's Cavalry is on the way, so Celebrant's Cleaver and Hand Axe. Sure, it's just scaled for the Weeping Peninsula. We could use our worst weapons unupgraded and it would be fine. Also, we would have had to come back for the Knight Rider Flail anyway. Now, why would you use bleed crossbow bolts against a Deathbird when they can't bleed? Maybe it's because you, like me, suffer from making a mistake sometimes disease. Making a mistake sometimes disease affects all Americans who don't correct people in the comments of YouTube videos. You might suffer from making a mistake sometimes disease if you do things that aren't perfect 100% of the goddamn time. Oh well. We also have the Erdtree Great Bow and holy arrows that whiff a lot. Damn, it's like bows are bad or something. At least 2 of them are off the list, even if the light crossbow didn't do much. I thought it would. It has light in the name. That's the Sacrificial Axe, our last weapon of this stream. We are so close to being done. Next time, we'll get it, gamers. And we kind of have to next time because I'm recording this on the 20th of February and I just checked Twitter and apparently the Shadow of the Erdtree trailer is dropping tomorrow. So I don't know how much more time we have to finish this. Streaming tomorrow, or as you're watching this, last Wednesday. Oh my god, it comes out in June, thank god. That Mesmer, huh? Looks like a real piece of shit. We're not wasting any time other than the amount of time this entire run has been. I could have made so much soup. Scaly Misbegotten gets the Great Bow and the Heavy Crossbow. I have no idea why the Heavy Crossbow is different than the Light Crossbow. I think it literally just weighs more. Anchors ahoy! Regal Ancestor Spirit is getting the Golem Great Bow and the most arbal weapon in the game, the Arbalist. Remember though, this dude can heal, so I hope you like watching someone bow hunt for 20 minutes straight. Scratch that, I hope you don't. We're skipping it. Seems today that all Garrus sees is crystal swords and rot procs for free, but where are those good old-fashioned calibrations on which we used to rely? Lucky there's the family heads. Sentry's Torch makes the Black Knife Assassin visible further into the cave. It's weak to frostbite, so it gets hit with the Ghost Flame Torch. It's a great way to get rid of 2 dog shit weapons in one fight. Before we leave Altus, let's go to the old Altus tunnel and whack the Stone Digger Troll with the Ripple Blade and the Sacrificial Axe. Wild Strikes on that Mad Taint really puts the sack in Sacrificial Axe.
Strike that. Reverse it.
Drops the Great Club, and I'm sure it is. Thought I was leveling the Storm Axe for the fully grown Falling Star Beast, but it was actually the Rosus Axe, which we've already used, and remember,
Roses really smell like
thankfully, I wanted to kill this merchant for his arrows and realized the mistake before it was too late, and we used the same weapon on a boss twice. Margot is going to get the Thorn Whip and Hoslow's Petal Whip. I would have nominated Oscar's Petal Whip for this, but it's not Ken. RIP. Sorry, this is a Jar Cannon event. We can't change it. So, even though I did realize we leveled up the wrong axe, I did not go back and level up the right one. This turns our fight into the full-grown Falling Star Beast into a full-grown pain in my ass. It's a damage sponge boss. It gets 1 move the other beasts don't have and twice as much health. And you fight him in a giant cereal bowl for his jaw. No death, just pain. Virgins get thrusting swords with lightning nobles and cleanrots specifically, and the virgins can't handle a little thrusting. Inquisitors, pitchfork. Shit, Deathrite Bird. It just straight up turns the damage off at one point.
That tickled.
I don't know, this game just doesn't work sometimes, and I am confused and scared. Somehow I lost to a boss that decided I couldn't hurt it. Oh, we're using Golden Order Greatsword and Sacred Relic Sword to bring some holy pain to this unholy abomination of bird. Is Death Ritual Spear good? One way to find out. We'll use it on a boss later. Siluria gets an unupgraded Bastard Sword with Flame Strike.
Can't be that easy. It's that easy.
She hangs out at the tree. She drops a tree. I love the symmetry. Talimgrave, Creepy Black Crossbow, and Lion Greatbow start off sniping the tree sentinel from a hill, then back off and get bleed with the Creepy Bow. Now it's contributed so we can swap to the Radon Bow, and the Ash of War is kinda good. Check it out maybe. Can't wait to use the Golden Halberd just for Golden Vow. More horse bosses, the Knight's Cavalry and I tried to do it with some bows, but this dude won't stop running. What the hell? Even when we switch to the veteran's prosthesis and Qatar, dude doesn't want to fight. Or he does. Honestly, I'm not sure these dudes are great at horseback riding. I think they're just on horses and don't know how to get off.
What is your problem, man? You know how to fucking drive? No. What? No, I don't know how to fucking drive.
That's boss number 69, baby, which means we're not even halfway done. We get a glaive for our troubles, another merchant got a die so we can buy some poison arrows. Let's retry those bows against the Dragonkin Soldier, Full Moon Crossbow, and one of the bows, I can't remember which one, I think composting. But we get some poison and we get some bleed. Full Moon Crossbow has this sick-ass animation it makes every time you shoot it, and like, why put the effort in there, FromSoft? You hid this weapon deep in Raya Lucaria, and it's terrible. Okay, flex on us, I guess. Dragon drops the halberd. There's only one weapon left, so whoops, that's not 304. Corey, fix the numbers. We gotta get some death root for our last weapons, which means the first Tibia Mariner with the family heads and the bastard stars. I guess the bastards got adopted into a family. Love that. Maybe I should have saved the Halo Scythe and the Winged Scythe for something that can bleed, but I don't care. Reapers are bad. I just kind of want to get rid of them. Halo Scythe is cool, but Winged Scythe is bad. Tibia Mariner 2 done. More easy death root in the Death Touched Catacombs. Black Knife Assassin is getting the Wakasashi and Steel Wire Torch. The plan is put Frostbite on the Wakasashi, reset it with the fire, then do it again if we ever had to do it again. Tibia Mariner next. What a change of pace. I'm using some of our last daggers, Black Knife and the Blade of Calling. They're the same weapons, but the Black Knife is good. More in the Black Knife Catacombs so we can fight another Black Knife Assassin with the Ornamental Straight Sword and Miquelin Knight Sword. They're weak-ish to Holy, but that's not the boss blocking our death root. We gotta go back through and fight the Cemetery Shade with the Sword of Night and Flame and the Coated Sword. We would hit him, but the Mimic killed him first, so we were fighting skeletons. Cool. Now we gotta fight Garank, and then we have all 308 weapons. After watching that sick trailer, we double-checked. And I can confirm, we did find all the weapons. So, weapon number's accurate, 308. Now what's the order of the bosses? Well, I'm gonna use my pretty cool brain to decide. Falling Star Beast in the Celia Tunnel will let us buy Somber Stones and the Round Table Hold. That should save us some time from visiting EG. I'm hitting it with the Clayman's Harpoon and the Death Ritual Spear. Unupgraded works fine. Most lower level bosses don't need upgraded weapons since our stats are pretty solid. Near the Prostate Tulok, we can find the hardest Deathrite bird in the game, and he explodes us, then our horse, and then us within like a second. Very cool. I gotta remember, the only way you should fight these guys is with Sacred Blade, and just use it like a gun. That works a lot better, though we're using a lot more of the Gargoyle's Axe than the Gargoyle's Black Axe, because that one can't be infused. It's just worse, even at doing holy stuff, because I think it's got Warcry as an Ash of War. It's bad. The Magmorm in the Consecrated Snowfield has a ton of health. Let's fight him with unupgraded weapons. Longbow and Hand Ballista. Poison arrows from the bow tick some percentile damage, and the Hand Ballista keeps the stance pressure up. But the real weapons we're using here are two octopuses. Absolute chads. Huge Brain Blast for the Putrid Avatar here. We use the Broadsword with Frostbite, then use the Torch attack to reset the Frostbite. That means we can beat the Putrid Avatar without upgrading any weapons, relying on big Frostbite chunks, and kill a boss with a torch. This is one of those torches. I think this was the basic torch. On the way to the Yellow Anus ruins, we get swatted by a Dragon King ghost. Annoying. In the Yellow Anus, the Onyx Lord tries to join us. There's just not room in this anus for the both of us, so I quit out. I really don't want to use any smithing stones, so we put bleed on the Rotten Battle Hammer and poison on the Battle Hammer. We got 3 status effects. It's super OP. You don't need to deal damage with your weapons to beat some endgame bosses. You just gotta put the status effects on. Borealis has an annoying Rorealis, so I want some range. Rocksling will get us that, but we do get toasted, or frosted, I guess. Gotta pay attention. Meteorite Staff boosts Rocksling by 30%. Lustat Staff makes it cost more, but also has the best scaling in the game. Second try, we throw enough rocks for the win. That frost strategy worked against the Consecrated Snowfield Putrid Avatar, so it will work against the Dragon Barrel one, of course. Celebrant's Rib Rake and one of the other torches. Torch Bowl! It's Torch Bowl, actually. I remember that now. Even though Streamfill is my enemy, he was being very thorough. Also, Streamfill is not Mango. Mango is Corey, the editor, who's making these videos good, and not just videos about a guy with a distinct lack of buttons yelling at a computer program. Corey's doing a great job, and I'm forcing him to leave this in. If he wants to leave out the part where we died fighting the Knights Cavalry, I would be fine with that. Why does Torrent have the health to take 3 hits from the Knights Cavalry, but their horses are thicker than a Snicker? Not as veiny, though. I don't think FromSoft animated those. We're using Pest Glaive and Knight Rider Glaive. Halberds are good mounted weapons, and getting mounted against these 2 knights is better than fighting setting them on your feet. Google mounted by two knights or two knights' feet on your work computer to find out more. We went on attempt 2. I hate the consecrated snowfield catacombs. It is in contention for my least favorite catacombs, which is like competing for your favorite form of food poisoning. By the way, nothing beats Chipotle food poisoning. Rotten Duelist, he's just like the one outside we got the axe from, except we didn't get an axe, we get a hood. Okay. Cross Naginata and Spiked Spear bleed. Neat. The bosses aren't killing us, even though we have +0 weapons. It's just the hell that is running to them that kills us. Sorry, I know most people don't like the salty parts of these videos. They're here for the double entendres. It's time to suck Vike until his life leaves his body. Clinging Bone has a unique Ash of War that only works on NPCs. It sucks their health for you.
He's about to get his soul sucked.
It is not very good. One could say it sucks. It whiffs a lot. It doesn't give you a poise boost. It really doesn't do very much damage. It doesn't heal very much, and you can only use it on NPCs. Counterpoint though, sucking is funny.
Suck.
After that, Putrid Avatar. Dismounter is cold, the torch is not. Make the tree cold, don't get rot. Erd Tree Avatar on the mountaintops have some big old dumpies, but they're that big, huh? Put a little fire on the Beastman's cleaver and use the Magma Guillotine and Scale Sword. We're in and out in about 2 minutes. Spirit Caller Cave is a great time to remind you, Spirit Airlines is a scam. You don't even save that much money after the additional fees. You're just telling airlines they can treat you like a sardine. Wing of Astel is soloing the Godskin. Boo! I've heard the Ash of War is like Flame of the Redmane's pre-nerf, and
No, you ain't.
I really like the Charge Jar too, though. It shoots beams. That's neat. I dislike the Giant's Mountain Taps catacombs, and I'm not afraid to say it. Why are there so many gaslight dungeons in this game? I guess blindfolding someone and throwing them into a hedge maze is a way to make them spend more time in it, but at what cost? Ulcerated Tree Spirit can bleed, so we've got Spiked Cestus and Starfist. No upgrades, just bleeding and a ridiculous amount of stance pressure from our jump attacks. I really don't know why the jump attacks on fist weapons do so much pressure, but I'll take it. For Biden Lands again, the Knight's Cavalry here kills us. Bummer. We're using the Golem's Halberd. It's slow and not great on horseback. I didn't know Colossals were bad on horseback, but now I do. And so do you.
And knowing is half the battle.
Wish we didn't waste those 2 bloody fist weapons. Oh well, we can make 2 more with the Bleed Cestus and the Bleed Balls for the Fell Twins. Then we mash with our bloody balls until these balls get bloody. See a doctor. I've got a different percentile damage trick for Adulo. We use the Bloody Glaive to get a stance break, sure, but then we hit the Black Flame Tornado on the ground. It works great, no upgrades necessary. We have the power of percentages. For Electo, I'm busting out that Dank Moon Greatsword, and this shit is so silly. Alabaster Lord Sword is also here, but who cares? The blade beams do so much damage, frostbite and just damage. Obviously it's one of the favorites, but it deserves to be. Grail gets the vulgar treatment with the fucking Militia Saw and the shitting Militia Shotel, and bleed of course. No upgrades. Pay 2 mana and we can enter the Warded Catacombs. I knew Radon was it. Putrid Tree Spirit is just getting the fire treatment from the Twin Blade and Godskin Peeler. Peeler gets the Black Flame Tornado because that just feels right. Beastmen get the Troll's Golden and Knight's Sword. Chat was saying these weapons are mid, but
You sure about that?
they seem like they hit to me. Deathrite Bird in Lernia seriously almost kills us, but we're using Sacred Blade on Rogier's Rapier, and that just kind of wins. Ancient Death Rancor is so important for Lanciax. It'll make all the skulls hit that wiggly head for big consistent damage, I thought. We have 50 faith in intelligence. This should be pretty good at this point. I leveled the staff up. Of course I leveled the staff up. We're using magic. You have to invest in sorceries to do good. But with 6 flasks, we run out of FP and have to wait for the Mimic to finish it. Oh, and we tried to use the magma spells. They're even worse than the death sorceries. Y'all spell enjoyers are so sad. I'm using unupgraded weapons to beat freaking consecrated snowfield bosses. And then I go to Altus with the staff and it's like, but you have to get 4 more talismans, please. Fall down twice in the sewer. Ow. On the way to get gaslit in the Lindell Catacombs. At least I've been through here enough to know what's going on. We're using the Guardian Sword Spear and the Ripple Crescent Halberd to fight Esker. Reading those names took longer than the fight did. Black Flame just be rippin'. Bellbearing Hunter and the Dragon Barrel almost gets us, but I got the rhythm down. With the Onyx Lord's curved greatsword, things went smoother. I wanted to fight the Knight's Cavalry with the Knight Rider Flail, but he just fell off. Exocus looking so tasty, I'm gonna eat him with a knife and a fork. Tipped Great Sword. The knife is the Iron Great Sword. Both have bleed. I don't want to upgrade stuff. Whiff the heads a lot, get rotted, it's fine. It's just Exicus. His percentile damage is no match against our better percentile damage. For the Deathbird, we hit the Gross Messer with the Sacred Blade, then the Eclipse Hotel. It's not great here, but it's not great anywhere because it's not great. The Deathrite Bird Grab, I hate to say this, it looks pretty cool. Shoot. No death, but it was way messier than it should have been. Actually, wait, if we were using the Gross Messer, it was exactly as messy as it should have been. Sainted Hero's Grave has a fun puzzle where there are imps everywhere. Also, you have to bait the Grave Warden Duelist before you fight the Hero of Zamor. We'll use the Sword of Saint Trina and the Weathered Straight Sword here. I've never used a sleep weapon before, and I don't think I want to again in the future. This seems pretty ass. It's like another stance break, I guess, but it doesn't last as long. Oh, and the Weathered Straight Sword is a bad meme weapon from this game. Still better than Death and Magma Sorceries, though. Bell-Bearing Hunter gets hit with the Ordovis Great Sword. I did level it a bit, but the real power just comes from spinning. Oh, and Inseparable Sword is in our offhand, occasionally hitting too. It's mostly just Ordovis chaining stance breaks together. It's really good. Fuck D anyway. Tree Sentinels get Zamor Curved Sword and Morgoth's Curved Sword. The Zamor Ice Storm Ash hits. It's pretty cool. Big area, decent stance pressure, Frostbite comes out fast. Why would you ever get ice spells when Ice Ashes of War exist? Morgoth's weapon also rips with big fire, bleed, and stance damage. Why would you ever get Blood Flame spells when Blood Flame Ashes of War exist? I should save Slicer for a harder boss than the Magmorn by Fort Lade, but I realized we kind of fought all the harder bosses already. You know how when you save your consumables for the Elite Four, then end up with like 15 Max Ethers in your pocket when you beat a Pokemon game? It's kind of like that. So Magmorm is getting hit with the Carrion Glint Blade and Azure Staff. I figure the Azure Speed Boost would help us cast Slicer faster because it's a speed boost, and using Slicer will stop that extra magic cost from Azure from being too bad. Right up the road, Maggie gets some Frostbite from the Warhawk Talon and the drill of the smaller Aokide Sword until she just janks up on the rocks and we keep whiffing. It's cool that bosses are placed in natural environments in this game, but sometimes it makes them way more annoying to fight. In the previous games like Bloodborne, sure, every boss fight is in a cathedral, but at least you can hit the bosses every time. Gargoyle's Halberd and Gargoyle's Black Halberd for the Ulcerated Tree Spirit. The regular one is the only one that matters because that's the one we can put fire on, and fire is good. To clarify, Flaming Strike is a flat damage buff. It doesn't get buffed by weapon level, so it's just already pretty good, especially since we murked the higher level bosses already. Ariza's Side Tomb actually goes smoothly for once. I just kind of luckily found the lever on my second guess. I have no idea how this place works. Hell, I got lost trying to find my way back to the entrance. Grave Warden Duelist is getting 2 magic halberds. Dragon Halberd rips, we already knew that, but did you know Loretta's Halberd is also fine? I don't know, the Ash of War comes out pretty fast. Needs further testing, but it seems decent. Back in the Cringe Folk Hero's Grave, we use the Gargoyle's Black Blade and Gargoyle's Great Sword. One has fire, one has to be holy. The fire one is better. Smaragd gets the Longbow and the Lord Sworn's Great Sword because I realized if I use a bow to proc poison and then switch to the sword, that's actually how most people are using bows in this game, rather than only bowing. It works fine. Repeat that trick against the Ancestor Spirit with the Horned Bow and Giant Crusher. This is an evolution of that big brain play. If we use our heaviest weapons with the bows, we'll avoid the endurance penalty of power stancing them later. Next up, Erdtree Burial Watchdog. Can't be status, so we'll just use the magic swords we have, Lazuli's and Carrion Knights. Lazuli's Straight Sword has a version of Glintstone Pebble that is fully terrible compared to the Glintstone Chris. Carrion Knight Sword has a big old slam. That's pretty satisfying. The Dragonkin Soldier of Nextella takes over 50 poison arrows to actually proc. Then we use the Inferno Crozier for the rest of his health. Why is he so resistant? Does he need to take a rot bath later or something? Falling Star Beast, just weaker to elemental stuff, so Tree and Vike's War Spear. We whiff a lot, then hit a lot. I should bait him out of the cereal bowl, it makes us whiff more, but I'm not too worried. We're not dying to an Altus boss. Up next, the Knight's Cavalry kills us, but like...
What the hell happened here?
We'll get the Death's Poker up to +10 and use the Sword of Milos to lower his defenses. Is that overkill? No, it's underkill if anything. The Kindred of Rock get the Marius Executioner's Sword and the Flamburger, not upgraded, no status effects. I guess actually Flamburger has innate bleed. I was just counting on them to have no health or stance resistance. I was right, it's fine. The drill fully stuns them, but we talked about that at length last week. No time to say hello, goodbye, I'm late. Time for Dr. Worm. Good morning, how are you? It's Dr. Worm. Someone has to get the Claymore and I guess it's you. The Deathblight can be annoying, kills the mimic, so yeah, it's a good thing I did that. Iron greatsword in the offhand, I think. It's another greatsword. Wish I didn't have to see the unsightly catacombs, but oh well. We're gonna hit the Perfumer and Misbegotten with the Moog Spear and the Tree Spear. Now the Misbegotten seem pretty uncivilized, but let's see if we can teach them how to count. 1, 2, 3. That's how you count, buddy. And then we just stab him because his bodyguard died. Now, despite being on the finishing path, we were 8 hours into this stream, so let's come back tomorrow and finish this mission, which has eclipsed 40 hours total in gaming time, not counting this currently 50-page script I have written. So, you know, this was a long one. Maybe think about joining that Patreon, please.
And in the end,
Godfroy is like Godfrey, but wider and shorter. We blast him with the pulley crossbow. Maybe a little pulley will make him longer? It seems unlikely. Ruin's greatsword does some nice stance pressure. Love a charged attack, making rocks shoot out of the ground, but without leveling up, it's not hitting all that hard. It takes some time, but it's just worse Godric. Gilka gets deleted with the Serpent Bow and the Greatsword. It's a ritual to kill her for these runs. That's why she drops the Ritual Sword Talisman. Hugh's next, poison him with the bow. I don't know which one, but y'all, this is why spells are bad. He keeps trying to do the big hammer, but we're faster with the Gargoyle's Greatsword Uppercut. If you want stance damage from a melee thing, pretty simple, don't use the magic hammer. Just use a sword and put a magic infusion on it. Super easy boss now. Erdtree Avatar with the Serpent Bow and Falling Star Beast Jaw. This is the weakest one in the game in the Weeping Peninsula. I could beat it with my fists. How about another one with virtually the same strategy? Erdtree Bow and Duelist Great Axe this time. It's slightly longer because this one has slightly more health. Now for this boss fight, I want to slow things down a little bit. I was wondering, since the Jar Cannon has the Kick Ash of War and the kick breaks the Crucible Knight's guard, could we just break his guard and then shoot him with a goddamn grenade launcher at point blank range?
Goddamn right.
Could've kept your shield up, dork. That felt good. That felt really good. No status effects on the Godslayer's Greatsword or his Y-hander for the Kayla Knight's Cavalry. I guess sometimes we get the Black Flame off, but we mostly just slog through it. Omen Killer and the Flower get the Grafted Blade Greatsword and the Royal Greatsword. We only have the endurance to carry both in medium load after we get +5 to our stats from the Curse of Vengeance. It's a lot of heavy stuff. Omen Killer can fight back, and then we just start gardening. Royal Greatsword, what about the Royal Grave Everjail with the Bloody Hellas and the Godskin Stitcher? Poke the Onyx Lord, he bleeds right at the end, but it's white. That's not blood.
Big fat load of cum then.
Everyone's too mean to the Winged Greathorn, and you need to stop. Soul Stifler is a debuff that works on every enemy in this game, with one use of the Ash of War, making them take 15% more damage. It's not a status, so it doesn't build up again and you have to fight the resistances again. Nope, that's pretty good. It makes a vape cloud in a pretty big area for 15 seconds. But if someone touches that big vape cloud because they were, I don't know, coming to attack you as you made it, they have a debuff wherever they go for a full minute. The debuff doesn't last 15 seconds. The vape cloud does. That would be like saying rot breath is bad because rot breath only lasts for a little bit. You're not rot breathing for the rot breath. You're rot breathing for the rot. We use that to deal some decent damage to the Erdtree Burial Watchdog duo with the Godric Axe because it's also a Great Axe. Why is the Power Stance Great Axe moveset so fast, by the way? God dang, I kinda like this. Cemetery Shade in the Kaled Catacombs gets the Holy Bubble. They are not accurate, but they are slow. They hit hard when they hit. Sometimes. I put the Frenzied Duelist to sleep with the St. Trina's Torch. Wow. He sure got crit once with the Knight's Greatsword. Then we just hit him with the Knight's Greatsword, and that worked better than giving him a Rem cycle, believe it or not. Sacred Blade against a Deathbird, yeah, we can do that. Oh shit, I should use the Nox Sword here too. You ever wish your sword was a whip? Why? He dies. Beast Sword with Bleed and Flowing Sword with Bleed make pumpkins bleed. I think that's just pumpkin, not blood. I never used the spinny wheel, so I tried to use it on the Bell-Bearing Hunter in the Church of Vows. Didn't work. I think you just want to use Giza's wheel as a big hammer with bleed. The Ash of War is bait to get hit a lot. Both staves of the Erdtree against an Erdtree. Hitting it hard kills it eventually. It's in Lernia. Another Knight's Cavalry, this time with the Serpent Bone Blade and the Moonveil Katana. I don't think either status effects, bleed or poison, actually popped, We kind of just throw ourselves in here and thank God for 40 vigor. Hero of Zamor gets Gargoyle's Blades, both twin and black. I didn't infuse them. This is a Weeping Peninsula boss. We don't have to. Agil gets Night Comet from the Demi-Human Queen's staff, but the Staff of Loss is in the other hand for a 30% boost. Seems like overkill to use maybe the strongest attack in the game on Agil, because it is. Omen Killer Cleaver for the Omen Cleaver with the Executioner Great Axe, which we use for a crit. It does more crit damage, I guess. I'm using the Sacred Butcher Knife and the Rusty Trombone on my balls. Carrion Knight. Jump up and down, it kills him. Moon Crescent Axe and Long Shaft for a Dan. Just hit him, we're just hitting things now. Lurney and Limgrave have too many bosses, like the Erdtree Burial Watchdog. I think, like the 5th or 6th one we fought at this point in the Impaler's Catacombs. Regal Beast Claw on the Beast Hammer is great for taking out crowds of imps, and then we wash the Watchdog with the Bubble Shower. Dogs hate showers. More Crystallians. Yeah, Lernia is stuffed to the brim with filler bosses. Watchdog Staff has a unique Ash of War that shoots beams, and Dragonclaw Great Hammer sucks. They should patch it in the DLC because this is nothing. Clean Rot Spear and Inquisitors against the Deathbird. I just make him walk into Sacred Phalanx. We do hit him with the Inquisitors occasionally. We're mostly just hitting him with the Phalanx Demon's poles. Great Club and Troll's Hammer against another Erdtree Watchdog in the Cliff Bottom Catacombs. Cool. Another Bloodhound Knight in the Lakeside Cave with Godfrey's Axe and the Rotten Great Axe. I hope you die. Underrated track by them. It doesn't even come close to getting rotted. Rotten Crystal and Iron Spears against another Bell-Bearing Hunter in Limgrave. It doesn't get rotted. It dies too fast, and we haven't upgraded these. Golden Halberd and Commander Standard are for the Rune Bear. Both have aura buffs. Using both of them is stupid, but this is a Rune Bear, so I just hit it. Crystal Stabs should be enough to handle the Clean Rot Knight. We just yada 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 to the last 20 bosses or so, but we ran out of magic because spells are so bad. I think it could be rotted. Let's try jump attacking it with the Rotten Staff, because the staff has rot on it. I actually didn't look up if this thing can be rotted. I'll do it right now. I actually am looking it up right now. Normally it's just a joke and I put in keyboard sounds. So this one can be rot. It's just got pretty high resistances, and the Mimic remembers it has a torch that it was carrying earlier, so that's what wins. The staves did nothing. These are terrible, spells are terrible, or at least the crystal ones are. Yeah, that's bad. We actually need some more intelligence to use a moon spell to benefit from the Moon Mother Staff. I don't want to respec because, I don't know, wouldn't it be wild if we could find and use 308 weapons without respecking? That'd be cool, right? So I get Marika's Source Seal for +5 intelligence, bully a turtle for the moon spell, and then buy the Moon Mother Hat for +3 intelligence. Now we can moon people, like the Knight's Cavalry. The moon makes us do more damage, then we shoot it with Night Comet because Night Comet's pretty good. All spells are good. Night Comet's good. All the rest of them are good too, because Night Comet is. For the Miranda by itself, we use Weeds with the Alberneric Staff, and the Staff of the Guilty make the plant bleed with the Briars of Punishment. It's a bad spell, this is a worse boss. More bad spells against the Stone Digger Troll with the Stone Digger Staff and the Academy Staff with Shatter Earth as our spell. It's slower than attacking with a weapon, and at melee range, if you want to hit things at melee range, use a weapon. The Limgrave is easy. Our last weapon is the Ice Lightning Sword against the Grave Warden Duelist. Now we just have to kill the rest of the bosses. First, let's make Patches a boss again, talking to him at the Shaded Castle, getting some rhythm instruments for Tanith, who doesn't want them, and then fighting him in the Murkwater Cave. He gives some speech, but then realizes we're his friend. He surrenders as soon as he realizes it's us. Honestly, he delivers his dialogue differently too. He sounds tired. He sounds like he really could use someone to talk to. And we could talk to him, but this isn't a video about talking to 165 bosses.
Shame.
Time to hit the Blasphemous Blade button on bosses like the Demi-Human Sheaves, Erdtree Burial Watchdog, Beastman of Faram Azula, Guardian Golem, and Spirit Caller Snail. That's the last boss, according to Stream Phil, who did count properly. At least, we counted bosses properly, until I realized when checking my list, a mistake had been made. Snail is done. That is our last... I moved the page. We never used the Hanamalania. I was updating the list I was using after every boss and didn't realize it spilled over onto the next page by one single line. After 43 hours of playtime with 52 pages of script written and weeks of delays to get the video done, I failed at the last second. Every painful grind, every annoying catacomb wasted by a single mistake. I made Corey edit this 2-hour video, and it's not even a complete challenge because I am a fool. There was one hanging off the page, and it was Hand of Melina because it's the last fucking weapon. Oh my god. Yeah, we even have the stats for it if we do that. Oh my fucking god. Through a journey this long, maybe it was worth it because of the fun times we had along the way. Let's go! After all, I'm lucky enough to play this game for my job. I've built a wonderful community who says "come onion" and gets weird looks from the other Elden Ring fans because of it. If the only victory I can take away is that sucks. Forget that power of friendship bullcrap. Daddy wants to win. I can't believe you all believed that. We saved one boss. We saved one boss. Like I would ever make a single mistake in my entire life. Time to float. And just like that, in 43 hours and 8 minutes, we have gathered all 308 weapons in the game and beaten 165 bosses with them. Wah the fuck who? Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please subscribe for more. We want to do a big, dumb, long video like this pretty regularly, and getting the support from y'all really does help us. Forget what I said about power of friendship being bullcrap. You mean the world to me. Follow us on Twitch if you want to see us do this dumb crap live. I do lose my mind a little bit if you want to see that. And join the Patreon if you want to support the channel. It's the best place to give us money. We get to keep the most of the money there.